Game 6 tonight at TD Garden in Boston as the Sabres look to close out their first-round series with the Bruins. Pregame's going to get underway at 6:30. Puck drop is expected around 7:40. And lineup notes for tonight. Head coach Lindy Ruff did speak with the media earlier today, saying Logan Stanley will skate this morning and that he will ultimately be a game-time decision as he's been dealing with an illness the past couple of days. If he can't go, it does look like it'll be Michael Kessering who slides into the lineup. And then on Boston side of things, forward Victor Arvidsson is out again tonight as he's been dealing with an upper body injury. Staying with the Sabres, though, Lindy Ruff was announced today as a finalist for the Jack Adams Award, the award given out to the Coach of the Year, along with Dan Muse of Pittsburgh and John Cooper of Tampa. There are two other games tonight. Montreal hosts Tampa for Game 6 at 7. The Canadiens are the team that can advance with a win tonight. And then at 10, Game 6 of Utah and Las Vegas. That game is in Salt Lake, and the Mammoth will advance with a win tonight. While in baseball, Bisons have a doubleheader today at Scranton. Game 1 is at 5:05. You can listen to both of those games over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. And in the majors, Yankees have the Orioles in town at 7:05. The Jays are at Minnesota at 8:10. And then out west in California, the Mets take on the Angels at 9:35. And catch every take, every reaction, and every big Buffalo sports moment live. Now on YouTube with Jeremy and Joe in the morning, Schopp and the Bulldog every afternoon, and watch your favorite WGR hosts anytime, anywhere, live on air, as it's live on YouTube, and it's brought to you by Belknap Heating and Cooling. For more comfort and less ka-ching, give Belknap a ring. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Thompson's in front. Puck doesn't get there. It scores! Rasmus Dahlin! The captain starts it. Spins that pass to the wall. Here's Lindholm. Far post chance. Lyon. Robbery at the far post. Somehow he got enough of that one.
I love it. This is what I think of when I think of hockey. There's nothing better. It's everyone. They're giving everything they have, sacrificing their bodies, minds, everything. You're just going out there and giving them.
Krebs can't get the shot away. Tuck finds the puck. Scores! Oh my goodness, Alex Tuck picks up the loose puck and he rips it home, and the Sabres have stormed back on the road to take a 2-1 lead.
Big games. I've been fortunate enough to play in some and come out on the right side, and once you get that taste of winning, it's a drug. It's all you want. Being out of it for so long, finally being here, just really makes you hungry to see how far you can go.
Tuck and Thompson fighting for it. Thompson comes away with it. Thompson scores! Greatness from Tage Thompson. Quinn walks it out to the slot. Shot scores! Matthias Samuelsson! Are you kidding me? 3 straight from the Sabres, and they've erased the deficit and taken their first playoff lead.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR.
All right, I guess we swept. Bring on round 2. It's cool, whatever, hype. You know, who wants to listen to Pasternak's goal?
Yeah, not me. No.
I don't want to listen. I watched it.
Yeah.
It was good enough. That was enough.
I saw it. Yeah. Wasn't great.
Biggest Sabres game since when? Tuesday.
Sure. Yeah.
Is this a bigger game than Game 5?
Yes, it's one game further into the series.
Therefore,
one game closer to potentially having your season end. So it's a bigger game.
Okay.
One more game that doesn't go your way, then you've got I heard Jeremy talking. I heard a lot of the morning show today. Funny enough, the guillotine is now hanging above both your heads. Somebody's going home if you don't, in Game 7. So the Sabres have not had that hanging over them at all yet in this series. So they have not had the urgency of the desperation of it ending. Not that has to change anything. But so, yeah, this one's bigger than Tuesday.
Okay. What about before this series started? The last game that was bigger than this one? I mean, there's only one. Well, I mean, eventually there's going to be one. You're going to find one.
I mean, I think Game 7 in 2011. I mean, it's an elimination game. Game 7. They still only have one of those in their history that went their way. Not that we were really high on that team as like a contender or anything. We were just relieved they got in and they had new ownership. It was a pretty easygoing time, I think, in Sabre fandom. Like, I think, they'd made the playoffs the year before. Pegula took over. They had a crazy mad dash. I remember really wanting them to win Game 7 just because I hate the specter of them not ever doing it and always letting everyone down and all that. And so I remember really wanting it, but it wasn't the urgency to win because you think they could really win the cup wasn't there. And I think it is still there with this team.
Me too.
At least in the East. I mean, we'll see what happens out West. I don't want to assume that they can't run with anybody out there, and I also don't want to assume that the team that looks the most daunting is going to make it. I mean, they might lose to Minnesota in the second round, Colorado.
We don't need to know yet, but you're right. Clearly, this team has an opportunity to make a run, and anybody can, but that wasn't really where our heads were. I mean, 15 years ago? Who even cares? But yeah, I mean, this is, or even the year before that. 2007, it was definitely that.
Right.
And, somebody might be out there trying to think about how the Sabres would match up with the Avalanche. I'm not. I just know that if they win the night, they're going to have Montreal or Tampa in here, Tuesday or Wednesday, and we do it all again, and that'll just be the best.
Right.
That'll be better than this was.
Yes.
I mean, you're obviously probably purposely ignoring that one Columbus game that the Sabres lost.
When they could have set a franchise record for, sorry. Okay.
That's the biggest game.
I rushed you.
That's the Cam Atkinson game is the last game bigger than this one.
I thought you were referencing the game that would have been an 11th win in a row this winter. That would have been a franchise mark, I believe.
No one cares about that.
All they did was tie the franchise record with 10 in a row. Yeah, nobody cares.
Regular season.
Although for some reason when you said Columbus, that's the first thing I thought of.
No, Cam Atkinson.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
Yeah.
As it turns out, maybe, wasn't as big as we thought at the time. I had an interesting conversation with our manager here a few minutes ago. He and his son were at the game. He's, your age, and his son is in his 20s. And he was describing how when the game ended, this is the dad, he and another guy who was older than he was, he thought, in their row, kind of got up and just started to leave. And the son was in a tirade that they lost. Like, why does this always happen? And his theory was that, just to extrapolate it, if you will, the younger generation of fans, I mean, maybe doesn't want to be burdened with the same history and is sort of tight about, they know that. They know the history of the Sabres and Bills, and they don't want to be sort of a slave to it. But I had a different perspective on it because I relate to him just getting up and walking out. I think even though many of us want to deny it, we all maybe have, of a certain age, we all maybe have a subconscious expectation, like a certainty that they will lose.
Uh-huh.
So when it happens, like, okay, well, I expected that, and let's go, and maybe they'll win the next one. But there is, I think, I think it's just natural given our lives and our experiences that there would be that. But I thought it was interesting that his young son was really mad about it, and I tend to be like, shake it off. They're still up.
Yeah.
But he was not that way.
It's funny. Do you remember how we left our row
Yes.
after the game? I don't know. You had some guys in jerseys on your left, but it was you, me, and then a 7-year-old seven-year-oldish kid, and what I assume was a dad or a guardian, whatever. And as soon as the goal went in, the Bruins are still like piling off the bench to go celebrate in the corner, and everyone's standing, of course, and the dad says, "We're leaving." He sort of gestures to me, and I go to let him by just because I'm still sort of – I wasn't like our manager's son. I wasn't devastated, but I was still sort of processing. Like, I poured a lot into this emotionally. I really wanted to be here for that moment, us to be there for that moment, just share it with everyone. It's not something I have on my resume at all as a sports fan. So I was really
a series winner.
Yeah, I just really wanted it. And so,
overtime.
So I wasn't ready to walk out. I wasn't ready to start the long procession of just. It felt a little bit like the airplane just landed. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to start filing out, but really all I'm going to do is stand here. So I let them by, and when they got to you, you said, well, I'm leaving too. And I went like, of course I'm leaving. What am I going to do, stand here and watch the 3 stars? But I wasn't ready to move right away.
Got up because my son was outside.
Ah.
And I also had to get to my work bag at guest services before they shut the door. They told me that might be 15 minutes from the end of the game.
Oh, okay.
So I felt a little bit rushed.
You had some urgency. Yeah.
I am totally the type to sit there.
Yeah.
I am not standing up on the plane when I'm in row 19.
Right.
I'm just totally not doing that. So I would have been the same as you. Because there was no place to go, I was able, like you were, to look at it. And I want to do that. You know, we were so close to the ice.
Right.
Looking at the Boston faces, because we were on that side, that was interesting to me. You know, they won the game, and you've got a couple of knuckleheads on our side who are just screaming at them. They can't. They don't know how to live their lives without being able to do that. So just screaming at the players. The players don't care. They never care. And they're just sort of, hugging and, we won. And we couldn't go anywhere anyway, so I'm just sort of standing there watching that. But that's why I got up. I felt a little bit rushed.
Right. I got you. Yeah. Well.
But, I was there for Kasperitis, and I sat there for the whole thing. I wanted to process, as you put it, every aspect of that. Hasek leaving right away and just the Penguins. I mean, it hurts just the same.
Yeah.
Whether you do that or not, I think.
Yeah, and I hadn't really, until we got to overtime, my mind did not drift to where we were sitting, and you talked about this, I think, a little bit yesterday. Just the view we would have of everything if it had gotten to handshakes. And I hadn't even thought about that until overtime. Like I just wanted the exaltation. I just wanted the moment where they won is what I was thinking about when, we committed to go to this game. But then when overtime got like, oh, well, yeah, that means you're going to get all of that. Like, all of that. I mean, there's not a ceremony for winning a first-round series, but still, you're going to get the handshakes. And so I started thinking about that during overtime and how cool that would be. And then, of course, we didn't get it. And so, maybe tonight.
Maybe tonight, although I will not be there.
No, nor will I.
In row 9.
The Parker family will be represented, however. There is...
Well, yes, I want to talk about that, too.
I woke up this morning to a text from Owen that said, Jer and Joe not being Sneaky Joe, but Joe Kelly, the producer of the morning show, are pushing me to go.
They were.
And I said, are they going with you? Is anyone going with you if you do this? He's like, no. I'm like, all right, well, good luck. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. And so I knew something was percolating, and so I turned it on when Howard Simon joined the show at 9:00 and heard this whole thing sort of organically germinate on the show, where Howard offered to give Owen gas money, and then Jeremy's talking about Venmo, and the next thing you know, Owen's got all this money to buy tickets and get a hotel and maybe buy Sabres fans beers in Boston because people just like piled money into his Venmo. And then like 20 minutes on the right, I'm like, my kid's going to the hockey game. He's got a friend going with him. Like, what the hell just happened?
What an idea.
It was so great. I was so proud to hear all that unfold live on the radio when I did.
Yeah, I got home after listening to that and talked to my wife about ways we can use that kind of
model
advantage we have, that model to get things.
Right.
Like I'm sort of low on socks right now. They get mixed up.
Right.
Anybody want to throw a few bucks? No, I mean, I didn't think it was shameless because of how it was. It was like Jeremy's, I'll just put your Venmo out there because we want you to go to this game. We want somebody there. And so he had backing. In more ways than one.
Yeah, I even told Owen when he first told me, like, they're trying to get me to go, and it was before the Venmo and Howard, opening his wallet had happened. I even texted my son and like, I'd throw you some money here, but I just went to Tuesday's game. I don't exactly have a lot of spare laying around here to just throw at hockey for you. And he's like, oh, no, it's fine.
You spent it on me.
I spent it on you. But yeah, then everybody just came, everybody rallied, and like, there he goes. So.
Wow. I mean, what a story.
Yeah.
It's like Owen has never been to a hockey game before or something. And the fans are sending him to his first his first game.
I don't think he's ever been to a Sabre road game.
Okay.
I know he and I have never been together. I don't think. I'd like to think I would remember it. We've obviously been to lots of hockey games together at all kinds of different levels of hockey, but I don't think he's ever been to a road game. So that's cool for him and his friend. I just love I love the impromptu. Like, I mean, he scrambled. He got home. Usually he gets home around noon. Like, he hangs out here and does a little work and whatever, putting up videos and stuff. Like 10:18, he walks in the door. He just barrels up the stairs, shower in 5 minutes. He got like a grocery bag of clothes, and he's out the door. And I'm like, to be 24 years old. What a beautiful thing.
Like you said, it's a young man's game. That kind of
that's right.
Impromptu idea.
Right. So a couple of listeners were like, "Are you going with him?" And I admit, I tweeted this. I don't know if you saw me tweet this, but I said while they were hashing it out, I was making coffee and sitting there thinking like, somebody raised the idea of me going, and then someone says, "Oh, he's got to work," and Jeremy goes, "He doesn't have to work," and like, give me a day, bulldoze me into a day off here. But ultimately, I want to be here. B, that's a 20-year-old's trip. You do not need Grandpa piling into the car for this. Like, go. This is something you should do. So he's doing it, and I'm psyched to see how it all turns out for him.
Before the series, especially for anybody listening that's tight, would you have taken 3-2 up?
Yes.
I think I would have.
I think I would. I mean, you asked me before game 3, would you take a split? I said, no, you're better. Go win 2 games. And they did. But
if I had said the same day, 3-2, you would have said yes.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I would have.
Because otherwise, the only thing better would have been to sweep them from there, 4-1.
Right.
And they almost did.
Yeah. I mean, these games are just so close. Not just these games, but it's notable. Like this division was so competitive all year long, the Atlantic Division, and you've got these 2 series that you need obviously somebody's got to win. It's game 6 to force a game 7, but the fact that these series aren't wrapped up shouldn't surprise anyone. I might have guessed, looking at the whole playoff bracket, 8 series, maybe the least likely to end quickly would have been the 2 series from the Atlantic Division. It was such a competitive division. Even though I think Boston was the best possible matchup out of the potential candidates.
I still do.
I do too. It still was always going to be close.
I don't think we've been disproven on that.
No, I don't think so either.
Even with Ottawa getting swept. I mean, I think it was fair to say that.
Yep.
That Boston was the best possible opponent. If they lose, I think if you don't mind, if they do lose the series now, it's going to hurt more than I thought it would before it started, because I didn't really think about having a 3-1 lead. Like the Sabres have all kinds of different new opportunities here, good and bad. They've never won a series by winning 3 games on the road, and that's available tonight. So they do that. That's history for the Sabres. They have the 1 Game 7 win. If they can lose 2 and then win Game 7 at home, especially like in overtime on Sunday, if our hearts can take it, that's history for them. They haven't done much of that ever. If they blow 3-1 with home ice and know that they would be at home in the second round, if not also the third, like if Philadelphia comes through, that's going to really hurt. That would take, I'm not predicting it, that would take this season from this joyride to like, oh my God, I did not expect this season to, torture me.
Yeah, that's why it always, I mean, we're in the talking business and the speculation business, so we do plenty of it. But why, to me, when a series is just starting, or even before game 1, it's like, I'm on house money. Maybe you feel that way. I didn't, because I think they're a contender. And if you're a contender, there's no such thing as house money. There's pressure to go win if you're a contending level team. But if you thought, like, I didn't expect this. This is bonus round coverage, whatever. Great. Once you get into it and you win there twice and you come home up 3-1, you got the chance to then even if you wanted to be level-headed about it, I think it's harder to maintain that once you have the 3-1 lead. Like, if you lose 3 straight, something this team has – I meant to check. The last time they did it, 2 of them were overtime games. And that can still happen here now, but it's not 3-on-3, obviously. But –
it's not that long ago.
This team has not lost. Right, they lost 3 in a row in that stretch where just right.
Anaheim, Boston, Detroit.
Right.
In March.
And were those all regulation? No.
2 were overtime.
2 were overtime. That's what I meant.
In Anaheim to end the road trip.
Right.
Here to Boston in overtime, and then Detroit beat them.
So anyway, it's just if you lose 3 in a row to blow this series after being up 3-1. I think no matter how calm and cool and like no expectations, whatever, I think it plays tricks on you. It gets hard to maintain that when you've blown a lead like that, if it were to come to that. And I'm also not at all predicting that. I'm trying to sort of lean on, last week. They're the better team. Just go. I know it's in Boston. You've been better there. Just go win a game. It's probably going to be a game much like Game 5 was. I would expect. I mean, the rarity would be what you got Sunday, which was just 4 quick punches in the face, and it's like lights out. Let's just hang out with our feet on the feet up on the ottoman all afternoon. That's very rare. I mean, all these games, these elimination games that have all happened here, are all super tight. I mean, Philly needed overtime. It had a 1-goal win for Minnesota last night. Same thing for
Carolina.
For Carolina, no. Somebody else won last night.
Anaheim
won last night.
That wasn't
a 1-goal. That wasn't a squeaker at all. Holy cow! They just sort of rolled Edmonton. So it's
Carolina. Every game was tight.
Every game was tight. Right. Tampa, Montreal. Every game's been tight. This series, the games had you got the one weird one, and even I guess game 2 was 4-0 and then got tighter, but never was really tight, I guess. So, I don't know. Maybe the series they've had a little of everything, I guess, in this series.
I can't wait. And if they don't win the night, they're a slight favorite to win. If they don't win the night, then you get Sunday. And I know that that's not what we want right now, but I'd like to see them win a Game 7. And you can't win them if you're not in them. So, I mean, my dad taught me that. I learned from the master. You can't win them if you're not him. So if we lose tonight, then get me to Sunday, and I'm not going to worry about momentum or anything. Anybody tells you that has to explain how Boston won Tuesday. But they were supposed to be dead. I guess they were not dead. You'll have the crowd if it comes to that. But for Sabres fans' sake, hopefully it does not. We've still got 4 hours to kill. Thanks for thinking of us in doing that. We have Sam Panayotovich coming up from the Chicken Dinner podcast every Friday afternoon. Will Sam in Boston be doubling back on his Sabres fan support tonight? The Jack Adams Award finalists were announced, by the way, right on time for Sam's return to the show, as we have action on that with him. And DK Horse.
Kentucky Derby.
DK Horse. I was not prepared for that. I also was listening this morning, and it was mentioned that the number 5 is scratched. 5 is right out. One of the great lines in movie history. Actually, that's not how it was said.
Holy Grail, right?
Holy Grail. 5 is right out is closer to the actual performance by Michael Palin. What a great scene. I texted it to Sam. He's like, what is this nonsense? Little before his time. It's before my time.
Sam called me. It's got to be exciting and big if someone calls you.
Like about Keno?
He called right. Oh, you got that text last night too. I see my phone ring. Like, I just pick it up. What do you think I said? This better be good. You're calling me. What's good? Well, he thought I was in the car with Owen. He thought it was father-son time, and he was all geared up. Like, you need a place to stay. You got what? Like. I'm not on the trip, dude. I'll talk to you at 3:30. It's just my kid and his friend. He's like, all right, I got to get in touch with him then. I'll get in touch with him. I'm like, okay, go get in touch with him.
Yeah, good.
So awesome. I think possible that Owen and his friend have got a friend waiting for them in Boston, in Sammy P.
Sammy P coming up next. Most of the rest of the day is open. We'll just be, sharing our hopes and dreams and fears between now and Pregame at 6:30 with Paul Hamilton, 7:30 game. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Thanks for listening. Sabres and Bruins, Game 6 tonight. This is WGR.
For more comfort.
Now's the perfect time to make yourself comfortable with a new electric heating and cooling system from Belknap.
In Western New York, summer and winter bring extreme temperature conditions. Make yourself comfortable with Mitsubishi electric heat pumps, designed to keep your home cool in the summer and warm in the winter, no matter how hot or cold it gets outside. Call Belknap today to learn more.
I'm Gary Garfalo, president of Belknap. We work on your schedule. We don't charge more for weekends and evenings. That's why we say,
give Belknap a ring.
Maybe tonight, although I will not be there.
No, nor will I.
In row 9.
The Parker family will be represented, however. There is...
Well, yes, I want to talk about that too.
I woke up this morning to a text from Owen that said, Jer and Joe not being Sneaky Joe, but Joe Callie, the producer of the morning show, are pushing me to go.
They were.
And I said... Are they going with you? Is anyone going with you if you do this? He's like, no. I'm like, all right, well, good luck. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. And so I knew something was percolating, and so I turned it on when Howard Simon joined the show at 9:00 and heard this whole thing sort of organically germinate on the show, where Howard offered to give Owen gas money, and then Jeremy's talking about Venmo, and the next thing you know, Owen's got all this money to buy tickets and get a hotel and maybe buy Sabres fans beers in Boston because people just like piled money into his Venmo. And then like 20 minutes on the radio, I'm like, my kid's going to the hockey game. He's got a friend going with him. Like, what the hell just happened?
What an idea.
It was so great. I was so proud to hear all that unfold live on the radio when I did.
Yeah, I got home after listening to that and talked to my wife about ways we can use that kind of
model
advantage we have, that model, to get things.
Right.
You know, like I'm sort of low on socks right now. They get mixed up.
Right.
Anybody want to throw a few bucks? No, I mean, I didn't think it was shameless because of how it was. It was like, Jeremy's, I'll just put your Venmo out there because we want you to go to this game. We want somebody there. And so he had backing. In more ways than one.
Yeah, I even told Owen when he first told me, like, they're trying to get me to go, and it was before the Venmo and Howard, opened his wallet had happened. I even texted my son and like, I'd throw you some money here, but I'm, I just went to Tuesday's game. I don't exactly have a lot of spare laying around here to just throw at hockey for you. And he's like, oh, no, it's fine.
You spent it on me.
I spent it on you. But yeah, then everybody just everybody rallied, and like, there he goes. So
wow, I mean, what a story.
Yeah.
Like Owen has never been to a hockey game before or something, and the fans are sending him to his first game.
I don't think he's ever been to a Sabre road game.
Okay.
I know he and I have never been together, I don't think. I'd like to think I would remember it. We've obviously been to lots of hockey games together at all kinds of different levels of hockey, but I don't think he's ever been to a road game. So that's cool for him and his friend. I just love I love the impromptu. Like, I mean, he scrambled. He got home. Usually he gets home around noon. Like, he hangs out here and does a little work and whatever, putting up videos and stuff. Like 10:18, he walks in the door. He just barrels up the stairs, shower in 5 minutes. He got like a grocery bag of clothes, and he's out the door. And I'm like, to be 24 years old, what a beautiful thing.
Like you said, it's a young man's game. That kind of
that's right.
Impromptu idea.
Right. So a couple of listeners were like, "Are you going with him?" And I admit, I tweeted this. I don't know if you saw me tweet this, but I said while they were hashing it out, I was making coffee and everything, and like somebody raised the idea of me going, and then someone says, "Oh, he's got to work," and Jeremy goes, "He doesn't have to work," and like, give me a day, bulldoze me into a day off here. But ultimately, I want to be here. B, that's a 20-year-old's trip. You do not need Grandpa piling into the car for this. Like, go. This is something you should do. So he's doing it. I'm psyched to see how it all turns.
Playing some big games and come out on the right side. And once you get that taste of winning, it's a drug. It's all you want. Being out of it for so long, finally being here, just really makes you hungry to see how far you can go.
Tage Thompson, goalless since the opener. Is tonight the night? We'll find out in the course of action today whether Bulldog might have a bet on Thompson. Good time to talk betting with our next guest waiting on hold on the West Shore Hotline, Sam Panayotovich. First, quickly, thanks to a listener that corrected me to point out that the Sabres did win the 2006 Senators series by winning 3 road games. It's still my fault. I heard a caller this morning say that this would have been the first time, and I didn't bother to double-check that, so I should have. All right, here he is, noted contrarian, Sabres fan, chicken dinner co-host, DK horse enthusiast, party enthusiast, Bostonite, Bostonian, Bulldog?
Bostonian is what you want there, yes.
Boston transplant, Sam Panayotovich. Here he is. Sam, what are your plans tonight?
Well, I have an over on Owen Parker's 5:42 p.m. arrival to Boston.
Oh, you're already – that's a winner. It's already up to 5:50 at last gas stop.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
As you alluded to earlier, I've talked to basically everybody in the Parker family today except for Mrs. Parker. So Owen says on the phone, I think I'm going to get in at 5:42. And I said, I'll take the over because, 20-year-olds don't account for game day traffic in big cities. I mean, hopefully he can get the car dropped by like 6:15 and be at a bar at 6:30, and I will be waiting for him there.
Well, you discount the fact that he's played important hockey in meccas such as Des Moines, Iowa, and Albuquerque. So maybe he does know a little bit more than you give him credit for.
I have Sabres too, guys. I did it. -115.
Okay. Any, pragmatic reason for that, or is it emotion? Which? Both, maybe?
I just think they're better. I think they're better, and, Swayman has been sort of enigmatic, as we've seen over the course of the series. He's been either really, really good or really, really bad, and I don't think he's going to play that well in back-to-back games. The Bees definitely have been an interesting team in the playoffs the last few years at home. They've had some stinkers, including the last game that we saw in Boston. Right. Not that what happened last home game means anything for tonight's game, but I just think if the Sabres play their game, they're the better team. You're going to need some of your heavy hitters to get on the score sheet, though, that's for sure. And that was, I guess, my first question. Who do we like to score tonight for Buffalo?
I mean, Zucker is due. I had him in Game 5. He gets a bad break in overtime from scoring a series winner, but he's all around it. I don't know him to be injured or anything. The ice time is there.
I had him to score 1 or even 2 goals in every game of the series up to Tuesday night. I just kept waiting for that to happen. Power play is going to break through. He'll get one there, maybe an empty netter, whatever, and that hasn't happened. I like Josh Norris, Sam. This is a guy that was injured very early in the series and I think played through it until he couldn't anymore and then was removed. And the guy that went in for him was excellent, but now he's hurt. And Norris, I guess, is healthy. And I think that can be a very impactful, good hockey player that a lot of people have sort of kind of given up on, I think. And I'm sort of banking on him tonight, which, might be risky, but I haven't put anything in yet. But when I do, it's going to be maybe 2 or 3 points for him tonight. Goal and 2 assists or something.
It is.
Wow.
It is fun, the psychology of, because we all look at it differently. I mean, we all have the same thing in front of us, but ooh, right? Like you see something you like and it just pops up.
Right.
So Mike's on Zucker, you're on Norris. I liken Alex Tuck at 2-1, and I would be lying if I said I haven't looked at him to score the first goal at 12-1.
Is there any strategy to that first goal versus any time? No.
Nope,
Okay.
none.
More exciting.
It is, except your night can be over pretty quick if you've got it in like a 5-leg thing. It's just like, okay, well, I guess that's so much for that.
Man, we'll get into Norris as we go through the day. I wish I had that kind of confidence. You know, he was a goal scorer maybe more than anything else when he played for Ottawa. And this year, I think he was doing better than fans thought. But a lot of it was playmaking. Like he was more of in a setup role or mindset. And I wonder what tonight is. But, yeah, like, Sam, you're this way, I think. You're wired this way. Like, it's the playoffs. You might get to overtime again. Somebody's got to beat the goalie. And on that play I referenced, Zucker actually didn't do it. Thompson had tons of chances, didn't do it. Somebody's got to do it. Pasternak did it in that game. And so the Sabres are going to need somebody that can do more than just, win the possession stats and keep the puck in, but actually beat the goalie and turn that light on. And I wouldn't want to get too cute with a goal bet because maybe Samuelson's the only other guy I thought of that might be fun, and he's more of a long shot, but he's shown the ability to do that. Did it in game 1 to win it, so I wouldn't want to get too carried away with long shots.
For sure. I understand. It's a fun bet. I think when you look at first goal, not that you brought up first goal, but, first goal, you bet $10 to win 100. I mean, it's like some people like that. You're certainly gambling. It's basically a game of glorified roulette on ice. I have no idea who's going to score the first goal. But it's just a bet that, you're in and out, you get it over with, and you see what happens. I have no idea what to do with the total, 5.5. Like, I'm inclined to think that we could squeak over like a 4-2 final with an empty net, but I don't love the total. I think it's a great number. Obviously, games get lower as we progress. We saw some 6s for most of this series. But games do get tighter, and legs are tired when we get to game 6 and 7. So 5.5 makes total sense. And I just hope the boys win. I hope Owen has a great trip, and I hope you guys are on to the next round. Swear to God.
5.5, you can't win it on an overtime goal either. 6, if it's 3-3, you're going to win. It's the playoffs. But 5.5, it's 2-2, you're dead. And so it's a little bit. Not sure what that means to the math, but you don't have that luxury, I guess, if that's one way to put it. Sam Panayotovich with us. Zucker plus 1,900 to score first, by the way, at FanDuel. I think I'll play that. You talked me into a fun bet. We have the Jack Adams Award finalists, Ruff, Cooper, Dan Muse in Pittsburgh. I knew it wasn't going to be today that the award was announced, but I saw the notification, Jack Adams Award, like, no, I know it's not going to be today. But, so far so good on that one.
I have a notification in my calendar for June, is it 6th or 7th? Just says Jack Adams. Yeah, basically. Like it's in my calendar, along with other dates in my calendar, like National Tight End Day, so I don't forget that every year. Joe O actually told me about that last year. He's like, I put it in the family calendar. My wife said, what is National Tight End Day? He goes, babe, we make a lot of money that day when we bet tight ends to score touchdowns. But I think it's, I hate to use the word rap, but I think it's a rap. I think it's his award to lose. I'd be surprised if he didn't pull it.
Right. I got to get back to you on this calendar idea, but I can't say it on the air yet. Just something else that triggered when you talked about that. I guess I could go this far. We have one of those, Sam, is it called Mix Play? Like a little frame, a picture frame that you plug in, and it's pictures from your phone, like family pictures, right? So you sit there at the Thanksgiving table, and the frame is out. It's just pictures of memories and your kids getting bigger. And one time I replaced them all with lineups. I took all the kids out and just put in my fantasy lineups, just hoping that nobody even indulged me. I don't think they'd look at it. My kids are embarrassed. Their friends come over. They're all real little in these pictures, but I got a kick out of it. DK Horse. So, Derby weekend. The Oaks today, the Derby tomorrow. What are we doing?
So I got 3 guys I rely on for horses. I'm not a horse handicapper, but I handicap the handicappers, as you guys know. We've been doing this for some time now. My 3 best guys like these 3 horses. The 8, So Happy, the 12, Chief Wallaby, and the 15, Emerging Market. So I played around with those numbers, 8, 12, and 15. I have a little bit of all of them to win. I have the 15 win, play, show. And then I took a 5-horse box, a $2 exacta box, $40. You got to hit 1, 2 on top. 7, 8, 9, 12, and 15. I'm not going to sit here and give you closing speed and read the racing form. These are the guys that are very good at it. And then this morning, I'm listening to the score in Chicago, and my buddy Eddie Olczyk's like, I like the 15, Emerging Market. I'm like, let's go. So Eddie is on 15 too. That in the story that I sent you guys that I wrote up for Fox, I wrote that yesterday, and I put on top Emerging Market win, play, show. When you hear Eddie come on a radio show on Friday and say, I like Emerging Market, I'm like, there's my guy. There he is. So those are the 3, the 8, the 12, and the 15. And I've exacta boxed 7, 8, 9, 12, and 15. I need any order to finish first and second of that stable.
I miss Hanks Bank. Do they do on NBC with the Derby coverage something akin to Hanks Bank where they just Olczyk maybe would be the one or that other guy?
A pot of money
Kenny.
and like how to appropriate it.
There's somebody named Kenny. They just bet all day and keep track of their results. I feel like when I've seen Olczyk on horse racing coverage, he wins.
He hit the trifecta. I was living in Vegas at the time, and I was working for a station that basically paid me nothing. So it wasn't great for a short period of time. But I had some buddies in town. We were all crashing in my apartment, and it was the week of the Kentucky Derby. And whatever money we had, we pulled together. It was like $300-400, and we tailed Eddie's trifecta. Guys, he drilled it in order, 1, 2, 3. That 500 turned into like $13,000. It was insane. I tell Eddie that story, every so often, and he's been doing this a long, long time, but he extended a boys' trip in Vegas and didn't even know it back in 2018.
Yeah, I mean, that's a beauty right there. I'm not sure if baseball is on the brain, Sam, but St. Louis is good. St. Louis was supposed to be maybe a win total in the high 60s even, low 70s, which jumped out at me because they're never really bad. And I have a friend in St. Louis who's like, yep, they've got nothing. I got them at 18-13. Pretty good start. And are you doing anything with baseball at this point?
I haven't done a ton. I mean, we know about the bets that I've made on the White Sox over the win total. That's looking better. They're starting to hit the ball. I had to wedge the White Sox into this question, Mike, of course.
Yes.
14-17, though. And they got, like, the guy who was leading the league in home runs last week, Murakami, has been an unbelievable story. I think the lesson is, it's every year for the last 7 years, it's been 2 teams that the market sort of goes against, and I never understand why. The Cardinals and the Tampa Bay Rays. Every year, Tampa's, this is the year. This is the year they fall apart, and you look at Tampa's a game and a half behind the Yankees, 18-12.
Yep.
I mean, these organizations, they're just so good at finding and developing talent. And I had a scout in Chicago about 10 years ago when I was covering the Sox and Cubs. He goes, when the Rays call you or they're trying to dump a player, hang up. Because if the Rays can't get any more water out of the sponge, that player's done. They're just shrewd deal makers. They develop well. Those are the 2 stories in Vegas, the 2 teams that were supposed to be bad and that wise guys were betting against and betting under. Tampa and St. Louis, they continue to do it. And with Tampa, it feels like it's every single year.
The Cardinals are a version, just an older version of the Rays in this way, where you might not really, the pedigree might not stand out, but it's just an organization that, for the most part, most years you can trust. So good start for them. Yes, always bet the Rays. Never bet against the Rays. I agree with that. All right, Sam, anything else?
Win total.
Yes.
Their win total was like 77.5. I mean, they're on pace for like 87 wins. It's crazy.
White Sox a game and a half out of first. That's my bet, is the playoffs. They probably have to get there through
It's kind of jarring when you turn a ball game on and see, like, nobody at a Cardinals game.
Yeah.
That happened already once earlier this year. Maybe that'll turn around if this good start continues.
You would think.
But it's really sort of a freak out. Like, at my lifetime, I feel like that ballpark is always at least 3/4 full.
Mm-hmm.
So.
They just went to Pittsburgh and won 4 this week.
Sam, you want to hear the parlay for tonight? I put it together while we were talking.
I do.
That's a rhetorical question if I ever heard one. Yeah, fire.
Norris anytime goal. Norris 3 points. Sabres -1.5. And then I threw 2 Dahlin assists on there. 30% profit boost. $20 wins you almost $3,500.
Man, if you get there on Norris, you're my hero.
Yeah, right.
I've just.
Yeah.
I would love for that. If you turned that into like Krebs or Doan or somebody, I would sooner. But man, I hope you're right.
I'm dug in on him. Like a week or two before the playoffs started, I thought he was a key guy for them, and it hasn't happened so far. And I think, like I already said, I think largely the fan base has kind of dismissed him, and I think he's a good hockey player. So I'm banking on him.
Let's go.
All right, Sam, take good care of my kid.
Yeah.
I will send him to the game well on his way. Don't you worry. I'll have him there right by puck drop.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, Sam. Sam Panayotovich, Chicken Dinner on YouTube. You can check that out. He's with us all year. Joe Ostrowski is co-host during the football season on Thursdays. 803-0550. What do you think about tonight? Are you confident? Are you terrified? Somewhere in between. Not until 6:30 for the pregame show with Paul Hamilton. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. Before the series, especially for anybody listening that's tight, would you have taken 3-2 up?
Yes.
I think I would have.
I think I would. I mean, you asked me before game 3, would you take a split? I said, no, you're better. Go win 2 games. And they did.
But if I had said the same day, 3-2, you would have said yes.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, I would have.
Because otherwise, the only thing better would have been to sweep them from there,
Right.
4-1.
Right.
And they almost did.
Yeah. I mean, these games are just so close. Not just these games, but it's notable. Like this division was so competitive all year long, the Atlantic Division, and you've got these 2 series that you need obviously somebody's got to win. It's game 6 to force a game 7, but the fact that these series aren't wrapped up shouldn't surprise anyone. I might have guessed, looking at the whole playoff bracket, 8 series, maybe the least likely to end quickly would have been the 2 series from the Atlantic Division. It was such a competitive division. Even though I think Boston was the best possible matchup out of the potential candidates.
I still do.
I do too. It still was always going to be close.
I don't think we've been disproven on that.
No, I don't think so either.
Even with Ottawa getting swept. I mean, I think it was fair to say that.
Yep.
That Boston was the best possible opponent. If they lose, I think if you don't mind, if they do lose the series now, it's going to hurt more than I thought it would before it started, because I didn't really think about having a 3-1 lead. Like the Sabres have all kinds of different new opportunities here, good and bad. They've never won a series by winning 3 games on the road, and that's available tonight. So they do that. That's history for the Sabres. They have the 1 Game 7 win. If they can lose 2 and then win Game 7 at home, especially like in overtime on Sunday, if our hearts can take it, that's history for them. They haven't done much of that ever. If they blow 3-1 with home ice and know that they would be at home in the second round, if not also the third, like if Philadelphia comes through, that's going to really hurt. That would take, I'm not predicting it, that would take this season from this joyride to like, oh my God, I did not expect this season to, torture me.
Yeah, that's why it always, I mean, like we're in the talking business and the speculation business, so we do plenty of it. But why, to me, when a series is just starting, or even before game 1, It's like, I'm on house money. Well, maybe you feel that way. I didn't, because I think they're a contender. And if you're a contender, there's no such thing as house money. There's pressure to go win if you're a contending level team. But if you thought, like, I didn't expect this. This is bonus round coverage, whatever. Great. Once you get into it and you win there twice and you come home up 3-1, you got the chance to play. Then even if you wanted to be level-headed about it, I think it's harder to maintain that once you have the 3-1 lead. Like, if you lose 3 straight, something this team has, I meant to check. The last time they did it, 2 of them were overtime games. And that can still happen here now, but it's not 3-on-3, obviously. But it's
not that long ago.
This team has not lost. Right, they lost 3 in a row in that stretch where just right.
Anaheim, Boston, Detroit.
Right.
In March.
And were those all regulation? No.
2 were overtime.
2 were overtime. That's what I meant.
In Anaheim to end the road trip.
Right.
Here to Boston in overtime, and then Detroit beat them.
So. Anyway, it's just if you lose 3 in a row to blow this series after being up 3-1, I think no matter how calm and cool and like no expectations, whatever, I think it plays tricks on you. It gets hard to maintain that when you've blown a lead like that, if it were to come to that. And I'm also not at all predicting that. I'm trying to sort of lean on. Last week, they're the better team. Just go. I know it's in Boston. You've been better there. Let's go win a game. It's probably going to be a game much like Game 5 was. I would expect. I mean, the rarity would be what you got Sunday, which was just 4 quick punches in the face, and it's like lights out. Let's just hang out with our feet on the feet up on the ottoman all afternoon. That's very rare. I mean, all these games, these elimination games that have all happened here, are all super tight. I mean, Philly needed overtime. It had a 1-goal win for Minnesota last night. Same thing for
Carolina.
For Carolina, no. Somebody else won last night.
Anaheim.
Anaheim won last night.
That wasn't a
1-goal. That wasn't a squeaker at all. Holy cow! They just sort of rolled Edmonton. So it's
Carolina. Every game was tight.
Every game was tight. Right. Tampa, Montreal. Every game's been tight. This series, the games have, you got that one weird one, and even I guess game 2 was 4-0 and then got tighter, but never was really tight, I guess. So, I don't know. Maybe the series they've had a little of everything, I guess, in this. Auto-correcting Grosek to Griselda. I don't know why. I don't expect it to know Grosek, but I don't know what the hell Griselda is.
GRZ? GRIZ?
GRISELDA.
No idea.
Is that some well-known character for one of these sword and sorcery movies that I would never watch in a million years?
The Legend of Griselda?
Yeah,
for
maybe.
example?
Right, yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Actually, Frank, it's an old wooden ship.
Sorry, I was just trying to text my son, which I shouldn't be doing because, his friend could be driving. I don't know. About how Brad Ryder on our old nighttime show on WBEN back in '98, we didn't crowdsource it. Listeners didn't help because there was no way to do that like there is now. But sort of at the last minute, Brad used to work on my nighttime show on WBEN. We decided that he should go to Philly for Game 5 of the '98 series with Philly, and he went, and Grosek scored an overtime to win it, and that was on this day in 1998. So the vibes are off the charts.
Mayday
for Owen's trip. Mayday as well, right? Not the goal, but like Mayday. Actually,
today is Mayday,
right?
May 1st.
So I'm feeling pretty good right now.
Griselda was a Netflix show about Miami drug wars.
Wow.
There's a woman named Griselda Blanco, played by Sofia Vergara.
Okay.
I guess it counts, it rates, it's enough of a, big deal where your phone might think that's what you wanted.
It's just an interesting autocorrect pull by my phone. I trust that you would believe me if I told you I've never used the word Griselda on my phone.
I believe you as somebody whose phone changes that to thar every time I type in that. My phone has been playing games with me for years, and I have given up. Do the Sabres pass too much? Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, back to it next on WGR. goalless since the opener. Is tonight the night? We'll find out in the course of action today whether Bulldog might have a bet on Thompson. Good time to talk betting with our next guest waiting on hold on the West Shore Hotline, Sam Panayotovich. First, quickly, thanks to a listener that corrected me to point out that the Sabres did win the 2006 Senators series by winning 3 road games. It's still my fault. I heard a caller this morning say that this would have been the first time, and I didn't bother to double-check that, so I should have. All right, here he is, noted contrarian, Sabres fan, chicken dinner co-host, DK horse enthusiast, party enthusiast, Bostonite, Bostonian, Bulldog?
Bostonian is what you want there, yes.
Boston transplant, Sam Panayotovich. Here he is. Sam, what are your plans tonight?
Well, I have an over on Owen Parker's 5:42 p.m. arrival to Boston.
Oh, you're already, that's a winner. It's already up to 5:50 at last gas stop.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
As you alluded to earlier, I've talked to basically everybody in the Parker family today except for Mrs. Parker. So Owen says on the phone, I think I'm going to get in at 5:42. And I said, I'll take the over because, 20-year-olds don't account for game day traffic in big cities. I mean, hopefully he can get the car dropped by like 6:15 and be at a bar at 6:30, and I will be waiting for him there.
Well, you discount the fact that he's played important hockey in meccas such as Des Moines, Iowa, and Albuquerque. So maybe he does know a little bit more than you give him credit for.
I have Sabres too, guys. I did it. -115.
Okay. Any, pragmatic reason for that, or is it emotion? Which? Both, maybe?
I just think they're better. And, Swayman has been sort of enigmatic as we've seen over the course of the series. He's been either really, really good or really, really bad. And I don't think he's going to play that well in back-to-back games. The Bees definitely have been an interesting team in the playoffs the last few years at home. They've had some stinkers, including the last game that we saw in Boston.
Right.
Not that what happened last home game means anything for tonight's game, but I just think if the Sabres play their game, they're the better team. You're going to need some of your heavy hitters to get on the score sheet, though, that's for sure. And that was, I guess, my first question. Who do we like to score tonight for Buffalo?
Zucker is due. I had him in Game 5. He gets a bad break in overtime from scoring a series winner, but he's all around it. I don't know him to be injured or anything. The ice time is there.
I had him to score 1 or even 2 goals in every game of the series up to Tuesday night. I just kept waiting for that to happen. Power play is going to break through. He'll get one there, maybe an empty netter, whatever, and that hasn't happened. I like Josh Norris, Sam. This is a guy that was injured very early in the series and I think played through it until he couldn't anymore and then was removed. And the guy that went in for him was excellent, but now he's hurt. And Norris, I guess, is healthy. And I think that can be a very impactful, good hockey player that a lot of people have sort of kind of given up on, I think. And I'm sort of banking on him tonight, which, might be risky, but I haven't put anything in yet, but when I do.
Game 6 tonight at TD Garden in Boston as the Buffalo Sabres do look to close out their first-round series with the Bruins. Pregame will get underway at 6:30. Puck drop is expected around 7:40, and of course both are going to be right here on WGR. Some lineup notes for tonight. Head coach Lindy Ruff did speak with the media this morning, saying Logan Stanley is going to skate today with the team, but that it is ultimately a game-time decision. He's been dealing with an illness the past couple of days, and if he cannot go, it looks like it'll be Michael Kessering who slides into the lineup. While on Boston side of things, forward Victor Arvidsson is out with an upper body injury. But staying with the Sabres, Lindy Ruff was announced today as a finalist for the Jack Adams Award, the award giving out to the Coach of the Year, along with Dan Muse of Pittsburgh and John Cooper of Tampa Bay. And speaking of Tampa, they are a part of the 2 games that we've got going on tonight. Montreal does host Tampa. It's Game 6 at 7 o'clock. Canadians will advance with a win. Then at 10, it's Game 6 of Utah and Las Vegas. The game is in Salt Lake, and Vegas can advance with a win tonight. In baseball, Bisons have a doubleheader tonight at Scranton. Game 1 is at 5:05. You can listen to both games over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. While in the majors, Yankees have the Orioles in town at 7:05. The Jays are at Minnesota at 8:10. And then out west, the Mets take on the Angels in California at 9:35. And catch every take, every reaction, and every big Buffalo sports moment live now on YouTube. Jeremy and Joe in the morning, Schopp and the Bulldog every afternoon. Watch your favorite WGR hosts anytime, anywhere, live on air and live on YouTube. It is brought to you by Belknap Heating and Cooling. For more comfort and less ka-ching, give Belknap a ring. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
My dad's not here right now. He's still at work. So I'm going to blast him.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I'm going to see if there's a clean version so that my parents and the people at my school will not get mad at me. We've got the spritzer filled with water just in case if stuff gets too fire. I'm going to set up the speaker and I'm going to listen to
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I think this is the best
Mike Schopp
feature that I've heard in a long time. I think his flow is really good in it, and I like his aggressiveness on it, and
the Bulldog.
Put not enough effort in it. I think overall his flow was good, but I don't like that mobile rapping. That was my review of
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Didn't need the spritzer. Wasn't fire enough. No spritzer for you. No spritzer.
Clearly, I can tell you are not on your way to Boston. Did that affect your plans for the night that Owen went? Are you going out? You staying in?
No, we had planned to stay in. We had discussed it last night, and we were going to stay in, and thought maybe if they win, we'll go out and celebrate on Hurdle. Just with the timing of our show, I love going out, and have done it a few times, not yet for the playoffs, but I'd be so late getting there that I just thought I'd be elbowing my way in, and I'm not, whatever. I'm going to bring my wife and stand in a corner for 4 hours. So it just didn't think logistically. So I was going to go home. I still am, and John Gale's going to take Owen's spot, basically, on the couch. Not that he wouldn't have come down anyway. So, low key. John Gale was in the living room Sunday, so, good karma.
Let's hope. I'm not going out. I would if I could pick my crowd. I'm not risking going out to someplace and having to hear guys over my shoulder all night talk about how Owen Power doesn't hit people. I'm just not taking that chance.
You don't want that. Yeah, see,
I will just lose my mind having to listen to that
My
again.
place is pretty reliable in that a lot of my friends already will, I think, probably be there. Like when I've gone to watch games at Moorroom, they're like 10 of my friends are there. So I'm surrounded by people that I love anyway, which is great. And I bet that would be the case tonight, but I just don't, whatever. I'm also a little, I don't know. I want to be in a safe space, I guess. Not so much for what you're saying. Like I said, I think I could trust who I'd be with, but I don't know. I want to watch in the living room.
I could see myself going out Sunday.
Me too. Because I don't think you get to Game 7. I think I'd be just pacing my house like a caged animal. I think I almost will need to go out for my mental health on Sunday if it gets to a Game 7.
Interesting how we look at this different than that.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned sort of a time pressure that we'll have tonight where you might not get into a good setup.
Yeah.
And Sunday you can work around that or even somehow go to the game or go to the canal side scene or something like that.
Right.
Time to, prepare for that. I mean, we all might have our pet peeves, what we hear from other fans. Doesn't mean we're right or wrong, but just I try. I'm not saying I'm always right. I'm far from it. But you try to kind of explain whatever it is that you think people might miss about a certain player or something like that. This morning, this always comes up. This is on the Family Feud. This is on the board every time, no matter who the Sabres are or what the scene is. Somebody's there to tell you that they try to be too pretty. Actually, this is funny for me because the Bills are often this too over the years, like their entire history. The best Bills and Sabres teams have been great. How?
Skill
and talent.
Yeah.
Like the best Bills teams, the best Sabres teams have, we had Hasek. I don't consider that those great Sabre teams. That was the best goalie who ever played. But, mid-70s through the early 80s, and of course 06 and 07, just speed and talent. Yet there can be, at the first sign of trouble, there can be a guys just shoot the puck. And this morning I heard that again. And I got to tell you, as somebody that is usually here to defend passes, and I do that because I feel like I'm a little bit of a lone wolf in this way, where just like every broadcaster is telling you in so many words that passing is bad. Just shoot. Just keep shooting.
Well, it's always bad when it doesn't work. But the times it works, it's then you just think about what a wonderful play it was.
Or it's just ignored. So, I like to fight that fight, but I honestly can't tell you that I see this team as a team that is guilty of not shooting enough. Are you telling me, somebody called this morning and made this case, and I wanted to be on the air. Are you telling me that Game 5, where they scored one goal in 70-plus minutes, was because they didn't shoot more? All I've got in my mind's eye from that game is everybody shooting from everywhere. And then you want dirty goals. How many scrums were there where they were denied? 10? 20?
Zucker was like a fullback on a few plays. He just went to the net, just like, I'm just going in.
I just feel like there are certain comments that people just walk around with, and they'll use them anytime they get a chance to say anything. Am I wrong here? I don't see this team as guilty of that. And that's acknowledging, and anybody should, the number of goals this year. They've had a prolific goal-scoring season, and a lot of these goals have been highlight reel goals. How does the game on Sunday in Boston start? Thompson, after a turnover, to Tuck, who's in the slot with space. What does he do?
Head fake and passes it to Krebs.
Dumps it to Krebs for he just buries one. Goal. I don't think this team has this affliction. I think they're good enough where there have been and should be. It shouldn't be discouraged. These beautiful passing plays, if somebody's open, then you can do that. I don't think they're guilty of overdoing that.
I'm glad you brought this up because it went largely unnoticed, and in part, I and we bear some responsibility for that because I didn't bring it up yesterday. But after the game on after the game on Tuesday or when Lindy did media on Wednesday, because I think the team didn't do anything Wednesday, but he still spoke, Lindy. And I think it was Wednesday where he said, because you weren't in here, and I never got to it. But I read, and I think I even heard the clip, he said, he thought his observation was that he thought his team was maybe feeling the pressure of eliminating Boston on home ice and were a little tight to such an extent that there were plays they could have made that they didn't, which is like the opposite of the point that you would hear someone complaining about, right? Like Lindy, to my ears, sounded like his team looked off because they didn't try to make an extra pass when there was plainly an opportunity from his view, watching on the bench or watching videotape back, to do so. And I was really encouraged to hear that because often as the playoffs go on, and let's hope we get to this point, you'll hear coaches simply resort to, we just got to get it to the crease. We got to pucks to the paint. Get it in deep, chip and chase, and all this sort of stuff. Remember, even in the 07 playoffs, by the time that was ending, Lindy was very much, we can't score like we've been scoring. We need to do it this way. And when it was all done, he said, we couldn't score our way out of trouble anymore. I remember that phrasing being used. And to me, after Game 5, I would assume that what he's telling the media would be something that would line up with his team. I feel like he might be telling them, relax and make your plays. You're good, and you maybe rushed it a little bit on Tuesday night, which I liked hearing from the coach of the team Because like I say, like normally all you get from coaches at this time of the year is ugly goals.
I would say, too, that if they're fortunate enough to survive the Bruins, in round 2, this is still going to be the same point for me. We've seen those matchups many times, Montreal and Tampa Bay, and those teams are good at the same thing. But you don't have to beat them in the trenches. You can make plays against the Lightning and the Canadiens. They both give up chances and goals. I think Carolina might be different. Maybe that's a team where I don't want to assume necessarily like in 07 you hit a wall in this way. But I think maybe a lot of hockey culture would tell you that eventually you're going to have to be able to just sort of muscle your way to offense. I don't think this team is sort of needs to be there yet. I don't think they really, mostly anyway, play like they are. But, like you just said, and maybe Lindy said, Game 5 could have been seen as an example where they did that. And you still hear criticism about how the Sabres try to make it's the one extra pass or the one more pass when it doesn't work. And then it's just a pass when it works. It's too cute if it doesn't work, or then it's great if it does. And there's just sort of this negatively biased conversation or terminology when it comes to this. And I'm here to fight against it.
Right. It ignores something that your team is excellent at, and it gets turned into a negative because for a game or two or a few, it doesn't work. You're not getting goals. You're still maybe making some of those plays with the goalie's making the save because he's really whatever it is. I felt like Lindy's message was we're going to still try to be who we are, which is what you should do. Like they should not. I mean, tactically, if you need to change how you establish possession in their zone, right? I.e., you can't carry it through the neutral zone because they're clutching and grabbing and they're muddying it up, and so you can't come through with speed. They had a lot of success in Game 4, their best game of the series, chipping it to good, smart chipping, like not just throwing it in, but throwing it in where the goalie can't play it. Playing in where you've got an advantage to chase it down, right? Because a dump in that's easily retrieved and exited is useless. But a smart, targeted dump in, which I think is what they were doing on Sunday, is tactically super smart. And so there's a certain amount of, all right, let's put the work boots on because we're not just going to carry the puck in, controlled zone entry. But once you're in there, pass your nuts off. Like you're gonna make your plays. I felt like that was what Lindy was getting at with that comment, and I'm totally here for it. I don't think the time to abandon what you're doing. Again, you want to change not carrying it versus chipping it in. That makes sense. Again, it already worked early in the series. Do more of that. But as far as like not trying to make plays or being too cute, man, I don't want to hear it with this team right now. I just don't think that it really holds water at all. Off a Tuesday? An overtime loss?
I mean, they had I'm not sure of the number, what might it have been 76 shot attempts in that game? Really, like they didn't score. What was their goal? Dahlin on a great cross ice, was it Thompson?
Well, Thompson to Zucker to Dahlin.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great passing play.
Yep.
And you could, I'm sure a lot of people would have loved it had they just, pounded the goal crease on that play.
Or Zucker just shot it. Yeah, right. Playing for a rebound or something. Yeah.
Instead, you get a one-timer from Dahlin and you get what turns out to be your only goal of the night.
In an open net.
Yeah, right.
You don't have to worry about beating the goalie there. Like he's cooked. You've got half the net to shoot at as long as you don't blow it.
It's just different things. It's, do they do too much of the thing they're criticized for? I say no. I think, Tuesday's game is an example of how far off that criticism might be. Good that the coach sounds to you like he's kind of on that same page. And, it's different things, but they're all kind of the same thing, I have to admit. There's enough of that to the net, just drive the puck to the net, bunch of guys in there fighting for a bounce or, something that I think suffices. I think Tuesday's game, there was tons of that. The Thompson one late, the Kozak one late, Zucker a couple of different times, then in overtime. There's all around it. They're not just all looking for the perfect one-timer.
Yeah, Zucker, if at least 2 times, if not 3 times, came from the goal line and just went right to the paint with the puck. I from my vantage point, I never really saw what he did with the puck, but it looked like a fullback dive on a 3rd and 1 type mentality. Like, I'm just smashing in here, and hopefully the chaos I create will, the puck will bounce the right way and somebody will shovel it into the net. Maybe it'll be me, maybe it'll be a teammate, whatever. I'm just wreaking havoc. So they did do some of that on Tuesday. It takes everything. You got, but definitely the time to abandon playmaking is not now.
Right, that's the point. 803-0550. It's so interesting to me that you're in on Norris here. When we filled out our rosters for the pool that I run, I wasn't sure. You want to reverse engineer it, figure out what teams you want. I'm dead because I've already lost 3 teams. Edmonton, Utah's not out yet. Who else lost last night? Dallas, and maybe it'll be Utah. Ottawa. I had a couple of guys on Ottawa too, so I'm almost definitely dead. But when I left the Sabres out because I thought everybody else wouldn't. When I was thinking about the Sabres for this pool, they were a little bit tricky. I thought you can pick up to it's 18 players on your roster, and you can pick up to 6 per team. And I thought the Sabres were pretty tricky beyond Thompson or Tuck maybe. Like, who would be the guys? And Norris was the guy I chose to be maybe a little bit sneaky. Like he didn't score as much during the season, didn't play a lot, so he's down on the list of guys on the app, right?
Yep.
But points per game were okay. I thought, he might be the one. I ended up fading the Sabres, but not for any reason other than like just game theory stuff. I wanted Montreal and Philadelphia and Ottawa, but they're out. Anyway, I was ready to get with Norris. And then the series starts, and he had an injury, maybe very early in the series, but the series started, then game 2 happened, and I'm just thinking like, well, I'm glad I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Because he might even come out. Then he does. Well, I guess we didn't think he was coming out until there was news of an injury.
Right.
But then there was, and he missed 3 games there, goes back in the night. But you're bullish.
I am. I think look, I don't know any of this, but the way everything went for him, it is 4 minutes left in the first period. He hit his head. Awkward fall behind the boards. And if you watch I tweeted the clip yesterday. Look, do I need to give the big speech about, like, they don't tell you, so I'm guessing? Whatever. I'm just guessing. But I had someone who was a friend who was sitting behind that net. So, like, you could hear his head hit the boards on that. You can't pick it up on the TV, but sitting there live, I heard his head hit the boards. And he did get up kind of gingerly. Now, this person told me he skated to the wrong face-off dot for a face-off after that. And I didn't see that, and I haven't heard anybody else say that, but this guy told me that he saw that happen. So I think he did get I think he hit his head and tried to play through it. This is a guy, again, that has one of the worst reputations in the league for durability. So it would totally track to me that this would be a guy who, if they don't tap him on the shoulder and say, you got to go to the room, he's going to try to keep going. And I think he did. And I think he did that in game 2. And he talked to the media after game 2 and then suddenly was out of the lineup. And people are is he ill? Like, no, it's an injury. And that can happen with head injuries. Like a guy can try to – I remember Adam Mayer playing a few games after having been concussed and then eventually he ended up in the hospital because it just all came at once. He couldn't hold it off anymore. So I suspect that's my guess. And if that's right and he's healthy now and doesn't have like rib problems or shoulder problems, then I think I've got an excellent hockey player coming back into my lineup healthy tonight, who I was kind of counting on, before the playoffs got here, before maybe they even clinched. I did a show one day that you were away for and said, like, that guy might be the whole key to the whole thing. Like, if he can stay healthy and produce, I think they've got legs. I didn't see Ostlund coming to the point where he'd be a difference maker, and so they had a replacement there, and if he didn't get hurt, maybe full speed ahead. But still, Norris, I think, is a very good hockey player and is capable of a big night in a big spot. So I'm betting on it. I think we've largely sort of become disenchanted over just 2 games of the playoffs with him that I think are explained away by an injury. So if he's healthy, I'm trusting that he is. I can't know how he actually feels. I want to bet on him tonight.
Is that Doan and Benson?
Yeah. I think those 2 guys. Sorry, you probably are ready to say something.
Just that going into the series, and I think throughout it, the Sabres really have an edge there.
Yes.
With Ostlund, and you want to think that would continue with Norris. Like, that's part of the reason people thought the Sabres were superior to the Bruins is, well, they do have Pasternak, and they do have a great goalie and a couple of stars, but can they roll lines with Buffalo? That's a big advantage. Should be a big advantage.
I really think a healthy Norris can keep that line playing the way they were playing with Ostlund. And so that's the bet. The bet is Benson and Doan are generating all this stuff with Ostlund, and Norris was injured while he was in that spot. Now he's not. I expect Benson and Doan to generate as much opportunity as they were, and I think Norris is more than up to it. Again, if he's healthy. So that's the bet. The bet is that line is going to have a good night.
And you literally have bet that.
And maybe a little power play, too. Whatever. Norris is back on power play 1. So, that's been a story.
For sure?
Yes. Well, I mean, he practiced there yesterday.
Okay.
That's been a story all through the series. And in a game where if you're looking to advance, a great way to get a leg up is to have something you haven't really had much of at all in the series, and that's a power play that's dangerous. And so, I don't know, maybe that works too. So, yeah, I'm bullish on Norris tonight.
There's a guy, a central figure in the whole pass-shoot debate because he can shoot it. But as a Sabre, he's been looking to pass. I think that's more of what's come out from Norris. Well, we'll see. Bulldog, have you noticed a rattle in your ducts or a rise in your heating and cooling bills? If yes, don't answer right away. Give Belknap a ring. With 0% financing, the cost of upgrading to a high-efficiency dual-fuel heating system is a breeze. Learn more at belknapheating.com. That's belknapheating.com. Go green, save energy, and save money with Belknap. Schedule a free estimate on your new installation. Give Belknap a ring at 688-1728. For more comfort and less ka-ching, give Belknap a ring. We'll take a break from the Sabres, just, for our sanity, so we don't lose our minds stressing out over tonight's 6th game. Sal Kapacio joins. He's got another in his series of the Bills by position. As we go through the offseason, talking running backs today, we'll see how Sal sees the Bills at that position. Like quarterback, which we talked about yesterday with Sal, not one where there's been a lot of movement at the position, if hardly any. But, we'll talk it out with Sal here after the update. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog at 803-0550. Paul Hamilton and the pregame show coming up at 6:30. This is WGR.
It's going to be maybe like 2 or 3 points for him tonight. Goal and 2 assists or something.
It is.
Wow.
It is fun, the psychology of, because we all look at it differently. I mean, we all have the same thing in front of us, but right? Like you see something you like and it just pops up.
Right.
So Mike's on Zucker, you're on Norris. I liken Alex Tuck at 2-1, and I would be lying if I said I haven't looked at him to score the first goal at 12-1.
Is there any strategy to that first goal versus any time? No.
Nope,
Okay.
none.
More exciting.
It is, except your night can be over pretty quick if you've got it in like a 5-leg thing. It's just like, okay, well, I guess that's so much for that.
Man, we'll get into Norris as we go through the day. I wish I had that kind of confidence. He was a goal scorer maybe more than anything else when he played for Ottawa. And this year, I think he was doing better than fans thought, but a lot of it was playmaking. Like he was more of in a setup role or mindset, and I wonder what tonight is. But yeah, like Sam, you're this way. I think you're wired this way. Like it's the playoffs. You might get to overtime again. Somebody's got to beat the goalie. And on that play I referenced, Zucker actually didn't do it. Thompson had tons of chances, didn't do it. Somebody's got to do it. Pasternak did it in that game. And so the Sabres are going to need somebody that can do more than just, win the possession stats and keep the puck in, but actually beat the goalie and turn that light on. And I wouldn't want to get too cute with a goal bet because maybe Samuelson's the only other guy I thought of that might be fun. And he's more of a long shot, but he's shown the ability to do that. Did it in game 1 to win it. So I wouldn't want to get too carried away with long shots.
For sure. I understand. It's a fun bet. I think when you look at first goal, not that you brought up first goal, but, first goal, you bet $10 to win 100. I mean, it's like some people like that. You're certainly gambling. It's basically a game of glorified roulette on ice. I have no idea who's going to score the first goal. But it's just a bet that, you're in and out, you get it over with, and you see what happens. I have no idea what to do with the total, 5.5. Like, I'm inclined to think that we could squeak over like a 4-2 final with an empty net, but I don't love the total. I think it's a great number. Obviously, games get lower as we progress. We saw some 6s for most of this series. But games do get tighter, and legs are tired when we get to game 6 and 7. So 5.5 makes total sense. And I just hope the boys win. I hope Owen has a great trip, and I hope you guys are on to the next round. Swear to God. 5.5,
you can't win it on an overtime goal either. 6, if it's 3-3, you're going to win. It's the playoffs. But 5.5, if it's 2-2, you're dead. And so it's a little bit. Not sure what that means to the math, but you don't have that luxury, I guess, if that's one way to put it. Sam Panayotovich with us. Zucker plus 1,900 to score first, by the way, at FanDuel. I think I'll play that. You talked me into a fun bet. We have the Jack Adams Award finalists, Ruff, Cooper, Dan Muse in Pittsburgh. I knew it wasn't going to be today that the award was announced, but I saw the notification, Jack Adams Award, like, no, I know it's not going to be today. But, so far so good on that one.
I have a notification in my calendar for June, is it 6th or 7th? Just says Jack Adams. Yeah, basically. Like it's in my calendar, along with other dates in my calendar, like National Tight End Day, so I don't forget that every year. Joe O actually told me about that last year. He's like, I put it in the family calendar. My wife said, what is National Tight End Day? He goes, babe, we make a lot of money that day when we bet tight ends to score touchdowns. But I think it's, I hate to use the word rap, but I think it's a rap. I think it's his award to lose. I'd be surprised if he didn't pull it. Right.
I got to get back to you on this calendar idea, but I can't say it on the air yet. Just something else that triggered when you talked about that. I guess I could go this far. We have one of those, Sam, is it called Mix Play? Like a little frame, a picture frame that you plug in, and it's pictures from your phone, like family pictures, right? So you sit there at the Thanksgiving table, and the frame is out. It's just pictures of memories and your kids getting bigger. And one time I replaced them all with lineups. I took all the kids out and just put in my fantasy lineups, just hoping that nobody even indulged me. I don't think they'd look at it. My kids are embarrassed. Their friends come over. They're all real little in these pictures, but I got a kick out of it. DK Horse. So, Derby weekend. The Oaks today, the Derby tomorrow. What are we doing?
So I got 3 guys I rely on for horse.
In Boston, puck drop is at 7:40, pregame at 6:30 as the Sabres do look to close out their first-round series with the Bruins. Some lineup notes for tonight. Head coach Lindy Ruff did speak with the media earlier today. He did say Logan Stanley will skate today, but he is ultimately a game-time decision. He's been dealing with an illness the past couple of days. If he can't go, it does look like it'll be Michael Kessering who slides into the lineup. While on Boston side of things, forward Victor Arvidsson is out with an upper body injury. And then staying with the Sabres, Lindy Ruff was announced today as a finalist for the Jack Adams Award, the award handed out to the Coach of the Year. He, along with Dan Muse of Pittsburgh and John Cooper of Tampa, are the 3 finalists. And then 2 other games tonight. Montreal hosts Tampa for Game 6 at 7 o'clock. The Canadiens are the team that can advance with a win. Then at 10, it's another Game 6. Utah and Las Vegas. The game is in Salt Lake, and Vegas is the team that can advance with a win. And the Bisons, they are also in action today. It's a doubleheader at Scranton. Game 1 is at 5:05, and you can listen to that game and the second one as well over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Well, the drama continues as here in Amsterdam, we're unable to access Sal's article once again. But we know it's good. And this is an annual thing Sal does, posting bills by position group over the offseason, which is still pretty early, and we just had the draft, and, of course, the draft can affect these position groups, but not at all at quarterback. And running back, too, not much different than where we were at going in. Sal Kapacio with us now on the West Her hotline. I guess this one starts and maybe almost ends with James Cook. Not quite, but he's coming off. He backed it up, Sal, after the big touchdown year and, a lot of maybe regression expected for Cook. He goes and leads the NFL in rushing.
And the contract, yeah.
And the contract. Got to give him credit.
That's a big one for me. I mean, backing it up after the contract, you're right. I think that was really, really big. And actually, this is later than I usually do these series, and the reason is because I wanted to kind of the defensive side more than anything, see how things kind of went in the offseason with the new defensive coordinator and maybe who they draft and what it starts to look like, what positions they're going to be, putting guys in. So that being said, I started doing it this week, knowing full well we all know quarterback. We talked about that yesterday, and running back is similar. Because not only is it, we know James Cook is the number one guy, it's who is the backup behind him. There's some questions, but let me start with James. Last year, 309 carries, third most in the NFL. I mean, I did not expect that. I thought they're going to give this guy a nice big extension. They're going to make sure that he can, play on that extension and not wear him out, and he's not the biggest guy in the world. I mean, he just defied everything I thought, and good for him. He went out there and he ran the ball 309 times. He led the league in rushing. He's durable. He doesn't miss time. I give him a lot of credit for all of that. I think it was a fantastic year for James Cook.
And I think this is a player that, really we saw it the season before last, but this last season was more evidence of it. Like, I think his game developed over the first couple of years. I feel like he found a way to improve his foot speed, whatever, his breakaway speed. I did not see him as a guy that could hit a seam and house call it in the NFL when he first got here. But that has become a key part of his game too, and I assume he did work to get faster because I doubt DBs got slower.
Yeah, and listen, they do a lot of mid-zone blocking. Basically, they let James pick his hole in the middle of the field where he can cut back. You guys have seen that before, right? So, that's the system they run. It's so good for him. His vision is incredible. Really, I mean, I think LaShawn McCoy had some of the best vision I've ever seen from a running back. I think James Cook is really right up there. His vision's incredible. He sees guys coming from different angles and out of his ear hole, basically, right? And that's why you see some of those cutbacks are amazing. Yeah. And the Bills run what's called a mid zone a lot, and I don't think that's going to change. Even though they have a new offensive line coach, he's going to run a lot of the same because that works for them. It's Joe Brady, and that's basically, hey, we're running zone in the middle of the field. It's the middle. You're targeting your aiming foot is kind of still, in between the tackles, and then you're going to cut back basically when you see that zone block open up and a guy is pushing somebody the other way. So you're going to see a lot more of that. I think the Bills will stick to that particular plan. I do wonder if he's going to have, 300 carries again. A lot of, situations dictate that, but man, he was really good with that. And you're right, Bulldog, the breakaway speed he showed after that was incredible. And before we get to the backups on him, Congratulations to James Cook. He is
I was gonna bring it up if you
graduating
weren't.
next Friday from Georgia after going back to school to get his degree.
I always love it when a guy that, whether it's the promise to a parent or whatever
Yes.
it is, obviously does not need the degree. I mean, he's got the riches and the football life and all that, goes and finishes it off. I think that says a lot about someone wanting to not leave something undone and maybe keeping their word, which I think are both really, really strong attributes.
Yeah, for sure. So good job by him on a lot of different fronts. And obviously, if you're the Bills, you hope that continues. It's not Josh Allen. It's not the quarterback. We understand that. Like the wins above replacement or whatever you want to call it, however it works, is not the same at running back, but he is certainly a really, really integral part of their offense.
He's missed one game in 3 years. That was a Jet Monday night road game that the Bills won without him, and Ray Davis put numbers up. But he's been durable, too. One of my concerns about Cook, if not concerns, a reason why I didn't love the whole idea, is durability. Never the number one back on a team coming into the NFL, but he's certainly proven that he can do that here. We talk about this kind of thing with Allen plenty of times, Sal. Do we go into 2026 wanting to mitigate Cook's role or not at all? He'll be 27 in September.
I don't think so. I think you continue to do what you've been doing. There are times where I would think, okay, maybe back off him, take him out of the game a little bit or whatever. I think you could justify that, but I think you go into this year thinking full steam ahead, and he's been durable. He doesn't, and it's not the kind of durable where he's playing through stuff. He doesn't seem to come off the field much, and he understands how to take hits. Like, it doesn't seem like he gets banged up a lot. You know what I mean? So he's durable, and I think he's actually really understood how to make sure that he kind of takes away from some of those big hits that a lot of guys see. And maybe that is because he is a little bit smaller. He's the, I think, smallest, starting running back in the NFL. I don't think they have to do that. I am curious, though, this year because of what's behind him and how they kind of treat Ray Davis and Ty Johnson, because you have guys here that I really believe they had a lot of faith in to give the ball to, and they just didn't give the ball that much to Ray Davis like they did the year before. Ray Davis went from 157 carries his rookie year to 58 last year. And it wasn't like Johnson just had this incredible uptick, right? Like, so yeah, Mike, I wonder how all that meshes together this year.
Yeah, I think maybe the biggest surprise from last year was exactly that. You already referenced it. How many carries Cook had and how little Davis had. Because I thought when they gave him the contract, they're going to want to use him. There'd be a temptation to use him more. But is that called for? We already talked about his size. And do you want to really turn this into a bell cow type situation? And I thought their depth would help them avoid that. But either through early missteps, like, Davis wasn't effective early, maybe they lost faith in that, or maybe it was just that Cook was so good and they felt he could handle the workload. Either way, it worked out great, but I was really surprised that especially Davis's usage dropped the way that it did last year.
Yeah, so, you never know. There's behind-the-scenes stuff that goes on that we don't know about, but there was no injury that we knew of or anything like that, and maybe they just went in the year thinking that. Maybe there was a different reason. We don't know. And I'm curious to see how that starts again. And then Ty Johnson, he's your third down back who basically, you kind of also can rely on to carry the ball. And he did 50 times last year. Davis had 58. Johnson had 50. Like, to me, it's the same guy, right? You're giving the ball. The difference is Ty Johnson was targeted 33 times to Ray Davis's 13. And, that's 20 more targets. So you take all of that together. Johnson was, as you could see, Johnson was really the number 2 back for this team. Now, as the season went on, it's also because Ray Davis became the best kick returner in the NFL, and he was really good in that role. That doesn't have to take him away from the offense, but when he started to excel in that role and they really knew what they had, I think he became a little bit more of a specialized player.
Yes, if you do rushes plus targets, so call it opportunities, Johnson 83, Davis 71.
Yep.
And any reason to think, Brady in charge now, but of course he ran the offense already. Any reason to think by any factor here, kickoff returns, new blood on the offense, anything else, that they would go into the upcoming season wanting to be fundamentally different on any level here?
Fundamentally, no, Mike, but I just think people dictate that, right? Like, so you go to OTAs, you go to training camp, and it's Ray Davis's third year in the league. Sometimes guys, as you know, sometimes guys have a bit of a dip in their second year, their rookie year, and everything's going great for them. And, they play a lot of football. Maybe last year, has an offseason in Buffalo, and, he comes back in, and maybe it just didn't go as well for him. And maybe that was a reason. I don't think fundamentally different. Or maybe they did make that conscious decision. That could very well be. I just think that if Ray Davis and Ty Johnson both go to OTAs and minicamp and they feel that, hey, we can give Ray more work this year, we can do that, and I wouldn't be surprised in that. So I'm going to shy away right now from I think it's going to be similar. I would not discount Ray Davis getting more carries again like he did his rookie year, but I think that's got to be up to Ray Davis, to be honest with you.
And by the way, Cook has been in the league 4 years, Davis too, but they're only 6 weeks apart in age. Cook is 6 weeks older than Davis, who was an older prospect when he was drafted.
So is there any reason to think that anything changed? Like, is the door cracked open at all for any of those types? If the roles are all the same, then your running back room is basically locked down already, right? You fill out your practice squad. You're going to want to have a guy or two just in case. But, I'm wondering, is the door cracked open at all for Frank Gore Jr. or is it Desmond Reed or anyone else that could show up here at some time in the summer?
I don't see it. I think they are. I think they're pretty locked in. Now, I shouldn't say it like that. I think that Frank Gore is the fourth guy on the team. The question is, does he have any chance at all to beat out Ty Johnson or Ray Davis? And because of what we saw last year, I would think maybe Ray Davis, but because he was so good on kickoff, he would have to, Frank Gore would have to even show that he could do something like that. To me, if Ray Davis didn't become, better way to say it, if Ray Davis didn't do what he did on kick returns last year, I would give that much more of a chance.
Right.
And think, okay, maybe that can happen. I just think he was so good. And then you have a new special teams coordinator. What do you think Jeff Rodgers is doing in his office? He's watching film of Ray Davis returning kicks, right? He's like, oh, I'm getting my hands on this guy, and he's going to have a plan for him. Frank Gore Jr. is an interesting guy, though, because two preseasons he's been here, he looked really good. And the Bills really like him enough to bring him back every time. It's his third year they brought him back. So if he looks good again, I don't know. Maybe at the end of training camp we have some sort of talk about that. It's probably a long shot, and maybe for his sake, maybe he hooks on with another team. If not, you have a good guy on the practice squad. Desmond Reed, just an undrafted free agent that we haven't officially heard from yet. The Bills are going to sign, but it appears they are. I think all you need to know about this room, the fact that they had zero veteran free agent or draft pick additions. That's what I think people need to know about how the Bills feel about their running back room.
Well, speaking of additions, there was a fullback signed, and that was made formal by the team, right?
Yep.
So tell us about that, and do you think that's sticky? Because we know Reggie Gilliam left, and I know when that happened, we talked some amongst ourselves about, well, maybe they won't have a fullback. Maybe it'll be a bigger role for Jackson Hawes or something. I guess they're going to maybe take that out for a spin.
Yeah, and right after we talked about that, there was a report, right after the draft, a report they are going to bring in another Jackson, by the way. It's going to Jacksons and blockers. Jackson Acker from Wisconsin, who probably has familiarity with, Jim Leonard. But that was going to be the only one. Then lo and behold, the Bills put out that they have actually signed to a contract Ben Van Sumeren. So I'm really interested in this guy because he was a high level wide receiver in the state of Michigan. Wide receiver. He had tons of production at wide receiver at Michigan. 176 catches, close to 3,000 receiving yards, 29 touchdowns. He had over 1,000 yards rushing and 17 touchdowns. He goes to Michigan as a running back. He gets moved to linebacker at Michigan. 2 years later, he transfers to Michigan State. Good linebacker, signs an undrafted free agent with the Eagles, who move him back to the other side of the ball, by the way, and he becomes a fullback. If you guys remember the very first opening kickoff of last season, Eagles-Cowboys, to start the season, this is the guy on special teams who got hurt. His knee injury was out for the year. That was him. Missed the whole year because of that. He was a core special teams player for the Eagles, and he was going to be again. I'm interested and intrigued. I think it's going to be really interesting because, yes, I think they want to incorporate a fullback like they did Reggie Gilliam. We'll see to what level. And this is the guy that actually could probably do a lot more than Reggie Gilliam could.
I didn't remember the injury. I do remember the spitting.
Yes, it was right after that.
Right between the kickoff and then the first Cowboys play. Then there was a lightning delay in that game too, and somehow the game didn't go over. now that game's flooding back into my mind here. Dallas, Philadelphia.
Great memories.
Dallas a candidate to be a Week 1 primetime team. They do play at Seattle this year. I like Chicago more, but there's New England there. We'll have to get into that at a later date. But I can't wait to do it.
What's the plan for this hockey game real quick, Sal, tonight? Are you hunkering down at home or are you going somewhere? What's your story?
Going to hunker down at home, I think. I've had a couple sick family members this week, so everybody's kind of in and out of it a little bit. We did have baseball practice tonight, but with the weather, we have really had very little opportunity to practice for our Little League and travel teams and all that. So we're going to do that and then come home, and I'm like, you know what? We're going to It's funny. I have to watch like Syracuse basketball games alone because I just get a little bit too crazy, and I got to watch it alone. I don't mind, I think, watching, other games with people, but this is one where I think it's going to be me, it's going to be Max, it's going to be Yana. Max came home from school today and he said, "Can we make a Sabres pizza?" So can we make pizzas sometimes like in different shapes?
Right.
And he said, "Can we make a Sabres pizza?" I'm like, "Let's go, buddy. Let's do it."
So the shape of the pizza is
the dough. You're going to try to make into the
dough.
logo?
Whatever, a sword or a buffalo or something. Yeah.
All right. Love it. All right. Post pictures, please, Sal. Good.
You got it.
All right. There's Sal Kapacio on the Western Hotline. His appearances with us always brought to you by New York's only outlet liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
Pregame 6:30 for Game 6, Sabres-Bruins. Lines open for your calls, 803-0550. What do you expect tonight? Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR. Mike Schopp here for
horse handicapper, but I handicap the handicappers, as you guys know. We've been doing this for some time now. My three best guys like these three horses: the 8, So Happy; the 12, Chief Wallaby; and the 15, Emerging Market. So I played around with those numbers, 8, 12, and 15. I have a little bit of all of them to win. I have the 15 win, play, show. And then I took a 5-horse box, a $2 exacta box, $40. You got to hit 1, 2 on top. 7, 8, 9, 12, and 15. I'm not going to sit here and give you closing speed and read the racing form. These are the guys that are very good at it. And then this morning, I'm listening to the score in Chicago, and my buddy Eddie Olczyk's like, I like the 15, Emerging Market. I'm like, let's go. So Eddie is on 15 too. That in the story that I sent you guys that I wrote up for Fox, I wrote that yesterday, and I put on top Emerging Market win, play, show. When you hear Eddie come on a radio show on Friday and say, I like Emerging Market, I'm like, there's my guy. There he is. So those are the three, the 8, the 12, and the 15. And I've exacta boxed 7, 8, 9, 12, and 15. I need any order to finish first and second of that stable.
I miss Hanks Bank. Do they do on NBC with the Derby coverage something akin to Hanks Bank where they just, Olczyk maybe would be the one? Or that other guy?
A pot of money.
Kenny? Game 6 tonight in Boston. Pregame at 6:30. The Sabres looking to close out the Bruins. It's a 7:30 scheduled start. Tampa at Montreal are at 7. So I know you'll watch the first half an hour or so of that game. Are you expecting to flip over during intermissions to the Canadians?
Probably.
I think I would do that.
The likelihood of that happening if John Gale makes it down, which I expect him to, is very high. Not that he, doesn't enjoy Marty Baron and Brian Duff on TV, but he'll want to see as much of the hockey as we can see. So yes, I would expect to spend the 17 minutes or so of the intermissions watching Tampa and Montreal. Thankfully they've got them staggered, which is the way it should always be.
Mm-hmm. Your son is on his way to the game. I have been to one Sabres-Bruins game in Boston. It was January of 2007. Maybe Martin Luther King Day, Monday afternoon. I got really sick on the drive home.
I remember this.
The Sabres lost the game in a shootout. I think Marco Sturm scored the winning goal in the shootout for Boston, but that's not on the hockey reference box score. But what I remember about that experience was on the thruway coming back and I'm not going to make it. And I had a long streak that was broken.
Oh, yes.
That night on the drive home from Boston. No idea what happened.
Not getting stomach sick.
That's right.
In the projectile way. Yeah.
Better luck to Owen.
Yes.
We'll look for your calls after the update. How are you feeling tonight? 803-0550. This is WGR.
it ain't since so long. All the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night. Said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. Oh, you seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Roller coaster. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to leave. Oh, roller coaster.
Game 6 tonight at TD Garden. Buffalo Sabres looking to close out their first-round series against the Bruins. Pregame coming up in just about an hour and a half at 6:30. Puck drop is expected around 7:40. Both pregame and the game will be right here on WGR. Lineup notes for tonight. Head coach Lindy Ruff did speak with the media this morning. He said Logan Stanley, is going to skate today, but that ultimately he is a game-time decision. He has been dealing with an illness the past couple of days, and if he can't go, it does look like it'll be Michael Kesselring who slides into the lineup. While on Boston side of things, forward Victor Arvidsson is out tonight with an upper body injury. And staying with the Sabres, Lindy Ruff was announced today as one of the 3 finalists for the Jack Adams Award, the award handed out to the Coach of the Year, along with Dan Muse of Pittsburgh and John Cooper of Tampa. There are 2 other games tonight. Tampa's a part of one of them. Montreal does host the Lightning for Game 6 at 7 o'clock. The Canadiens are the team that can advance with a win tonight. Then at 10, another Game 6, Utah and Las Vegas. That game is in Salt Lake, and Vegas is the team that can advance with a win. Then over to baseball. The Bisons have a doubleheader today at Scranton. Game 1 starts in just a few minutes, 5:05 first pitch time, and you can listen to both games over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. While in the majors, the Yankees have the Orioles in town at 7:05. The Jays are at Minnesota at 8:10, and out west in California, the Mets, they take on the Angels at 9:35. And catch every take, every reaction, and every big Buffalo sports moment live now on YouTube. Jeremy and Joe in the morning, Schopp and the Bulldog every afternoon. You can watch your favorite WGR hosts anytime, anywhere, live on air, and it's live on YouTube. And then it's brought to you by Belknap Heating and Cooling. For more comfort and less ka-ching, give Belknap a ring. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp.
This guy's a real jerk.
And the Bulldog.
I'm sort of anal retentive, OCD kind of whack job.
On WGR.
Moment when it hit me that I could use this game to be like a normal 7 o'clock game is staring into the reflection of the trees behind me and seeing a collection of leaves that look like a face, that look like 70s TV crime show star Dennis Farina.
If that's exactly a real guy, which I think it is.
Right there. Yeah. There's Dennis.
I'm not coming over to look.
I'm
just going to take you. There's no way I'm going to see that in there.
No.
It's going to be like one of these what color is the dress thing. I
right.
just can't. No. You're telling me you don't see this actor's face in there? No. Yeah, right there, the mustache.
Welcome to the show. First time,
right.
Probably for Dennis Farina. Are you jealous of your son being on this trip to Boston?
No, actually, I don't have any jealousy about it at all. I'm extremely excited for him and happy that it all went down the way it went down that led to him getting in his car and driving to Boston with his friend to go to this game.
I heard he raised enough money that he bought a car to drive to Boston.
I don't know about that, but he is planning on any Sabres fans that are there who recognize him, until he runs out of money, he's buying people beers.
What's he wearing?
Is the plan. Great question. I don't know. There was some talk he won a signed an autographed Alex Tuck jersey at a golf tournament last summer that's in a frame. And when he brought it home, I'm like, you're not gonna take that out of the frame and wear it, are you? And I think he was gonna, but when I ducked my head in his room after he left, something went wrong. Either the jersey isn't big enough for him or what, because the frame is opened up, but the jersey's just lying there. He did not take the jersey with him. So I have no idea what it'll
Or
be.
hang it up.
Or hang it back up. No, he just left it on his bed. And, hopefully Fred doesn't do anything to it. Sometimes if he gets in there. Anyway, so I don't know what kind of total, how much money that he got bombarded with, I guess, like when his Venmo got out there on the YouTube chat, I think is where that was. He at one point in the segment, maybe you heard it, he was just like, yeah, I got enough. Like I'm gonna have to do a charity or whatever. And then Jared said, here's an idea. You buy beers for people. So that's his plan. I don't know how, if he's just going to stand somewhere just assembly lining beers out to Sabres fans. And he has said whatever they don't use on that or, tickets in a hotel, he's going to donate to the 11-day or to Roswell, the Ride for Roswell. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool stunt that really began. Like when I woke up, he said they're after me here. Jared's like, if I were 10 years younger and that kind of stuff. And he asked me, what do you think? I'm like, are you supposed to go alone? And at the time he was like, yeah. I'm like, you do what you want, but I'm not nuts about that. And then his friend heard him talking about it. And as it just turned out, they got together and off they went. So, yeah, I'm not, no jealousy at all. Just to me, it's a little bizarre to me, but I'm living in a world where I got out of the game on Tuesday night and turned my truck on and heard him talking to Brian Koziel. Like I'm still adapting to the fact that he's he's co-hosting pre and post game show coverage on the station. It's like that part of it's like a little bit of a basket case for me emotionally. Mostly all good. There's nothing bad about it. It's just a lot to sort of take in. It's just every time I turn the radio on, I'm reminded of how old I am. Because my kid is.
So are the rest of us.
Yeah, right. So anyway, I'm just super pumped for him. I admitted to you I had like a fleeting moment listening to it unfolding where I kind of thought, someone say your dad should go with you. And then someone in my head, I could hear the conversation. Like, Joe Caley maybe says, you should see if your dad can go. And Owen says, oh, he's got to work. And Jeremy goes, he doesn't have to work. He can take the day off for this.
Thanks, Jer.
Right. But I didn't want to do that. I mean, I know your voice is barely there. You sound better today than you did yesterday. I was not going to leave you high and dry today and like pull a last minute, like I'm going to Boston with my kid. Woo! My budget, we did Tuesday and I shot my shot. It didn't work. So
it was still a great night.
It was. So good.
Not like Steve Harvey when he mispronounced the winner of Miss Universe.
Right.
Still a great night. But it really was. It would have been better, but it was still a great night.
And I do sort of feel like, I don't know. I mean, we're all just trying to manifest the most positive outcome we can. I know Jer today and Owen and Joe were talking to some extent, like, give me your ideas. Like, give me the thing you want to speak into existence, right? The Tage Thompson hat trick. I'm over here with the Norris goal and 2 assists. I just feel like the way that whole thing unfolded, of course it doesn't mean anything to the outcome of the game, but it helped me feel better about the whole thing. Just like, here's a 24-year-old guy that's just hopping in his car at the last minute and is driving to Boston, is going to get tickets, and like, yeah, go get rewarded for doing that, And it's not me doing it, so I just get to sit back and watch it. But it's my kid, and it's kind of fun. I'm sort of living it through him, and it makes me feel more excited about the game than scared.
Okay.
I guess, like nervous. It eased my nerves in a weird way, and I don't know if that makes sense, but whatever. I'll take whatever I can get.
You still have a cushion here. You don't need me to remind you in the series, so I wouldn't be too nervous, and the Sabres are a slight favorite. I'm not jealous either. I'm tired, but I have enjoyed thinking about times when I've done this, and I've had my share of these. How many of them were like the day of? When we went to Detroit, the guys at the station and I, to see Roger Clemens go for his 300th win, it wasn't the day of. It might have been the day before, or like a couple days before we bought tickets. Close enough. And that was a down and back. And it was a 17-inning game that we stayed for all of.
Right.
And starved because they were out of hot dogs before the game started. But, so that's memorable. I did this with the Bills in Foxborough at a game that you happened to be at in 1989.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was some planning there, but I was announcing for Grand Island at the stadium for their sectional playoffs, and then 2 friends of mine and I left at halftime. They give each school's announcer a half. And so I got the first half. It was against Lackawanna, and at halftime we bolted and drove through the night to Foxborough. And so that was cool. That's close to this.
Yeah.
Going to Kansas City from St. Louis and back for a ball game, baseball. That's not that long ago. I've had my turn, Cleveland for baseball and Pittsburgh for baseball. And we'll do it again. 20 years ago was that baseball trip I made with my wife and her brother, which was to Toronto, then Detroit, Wrigley, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh in 4 days. Toronto was separate, but that was like 4 games in 4 days. It's the best.
Yep.
It's all before, not all. Most of that's before I had kids.
Yeah.
And that's why like this is cool for him because he's not encumbered by other obligations.
Right, which is exactly why, like for me, like me wedging my way into it would have been, or even if I'd been invited, I would have declined. I already said it. I wanted to be here with you, and I also just felt like this is something you should do. Like I had my shot, You go take flight. So yeah, I'm super pumped.
It could come up again in the next round.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, if it goes well tonight, Like this will be a thing. Like, Owen, are you going to Game 5? Are you going to whatever game it'll be in the next round? Next round they would have home ice, so it wouldn't be Game 5.
But if it's Montreal, that's like the same drive.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yep.
And I like Boston, but I love Montreal.
Me too.
To be in that building for a second round playoff game, that's hot.
That I might want to elbow my way.
It's way
into.
better than this.
I might want to wedge my way into that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. The best I've got there, like impromptu, is maybe like a night before. And this was with the kids. This wasn't when I was, single. Strasburg is going to pitch in Cleveland on a Sunday, and Saturday night, pretty late, like well after dinner, like 9 o'clock at night, I just found out like my wife was going to be hung up with her family, and I had the boys. And so we had, it was close to bedtime, but we had Sunday free. I'm like, let me just see what kind of tickets are available to go see Steven Strasburg pitch in Cleveland tomorrow, 1 o'clock game. We can get up at, 9 in the morning and make the drive, or 8, whatever. And there were really good seats available, like on the third baseline for $45 or something a piece. I'm like, all right, I'm just doing this. And so we got up in the morning and barreled to Cleveland and then watched the ball game and came home. And that was super fun. And that involved the kids. They were, Strasburg's rookie year. So I don't know, what year is that? My kids might have been 6 and 8, maybe 10
2009, 2010.
Okay.
What do you think of that? Guess?
That good guess, and that's
right.
That's why I'm thinking you'd know the year, but
I'm close.
Anyway, that was fun. Yeah. The only other one that comes to mind, like a last minute, this is one of my favorite. It doesn't involve sports, but I love Jason Isbell, and very early in his career, like before he even had really the guts of the band that he still has together now, which has been together a long time. I knew he was playing at the Horseshoe Tavern in Toronto on a Sunday night at, 8 o'clock show. And I was at a cookout at my friend's house, also a fan of this artist. And we're eating chicken legs and macaroni salad at like 6 o'clock in the evening. And I just said, sort of casually, with, I have to admit, the littlest bit of a hint of, I hope you jump on this. I said, Isbell's playing in Toronto tonight. And my friend looked across the table and said, do you want to go? I'm like, yes. Like, okay, let's go. And we were literally in the car 5 minutes later. Just left our wives with the kids and the cookout. Like, let's go to Toronto. Go see Jason Isbell. And we did. We found a parking spot right across the street from the Horseshoe, walked in, and 5 minutes later he walked on stage. It was great.
Wow. I've done that for Arby's, but never for a concert.
Right.
Want to go to Arby's?
Everyone's done that for
Arby's. Now? Get in the car right now.
If I had $1 for every story about Arby's.
Yep. You'd have maybe Owen money. What do you think of Bulldog being Josh Norris guy today? Can you get there? 803-0550 is the number. I love it. I so hope that's maybe the best game script I could write for tonight. I couldn't bring myself to seriously push for it because Ruff is never changing his lineup after that game on Sunday. Putting Norris in, if healthy, for Kozak. But, man, I would have wanted to do it. I also wanted to play Luukkonen in game 4 because, actually, the problem with this take is it builds on a negative. But look out, right? You don't have to win the night, but if it's Lyon again, which of course it will be, now you're taxing him for what he's used to, his workload. I mean, has he ever played 5 games in a row? That'll be game 7 if he needs game 7. And all in the playoffs. I mean, the pressure's on here. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was fine in game 5. He's been fine, if not really good, for all of this so far. But the idea for Luukkonen in game 4 was just get back on your bicycle and go back and forth and do what got you here. And that's why I thought of it with respect to Norris. It wasn't shocking at all. It was anything but that he stayed with Lyon in game 4, or that he stayed with Kozak in the lineup in game 5. But, I would hate to see the Sabres season die because they've got, a really talented goal scorer or two in the press box in the name of measuring up to being physical with a Boston team that they might be more physical than already. And so I would have been up for a debate on Tuesday, putting Norris in, if I thought it would have any legs. But it was never going to have legs. Neither was playing Luukkonen in Game 4 going to have legs.
Right.
Or tonight, for that matter. Like, no.
No, that's right.
So you're going to play it out this way.
You're going to ride or die with him now. Like, that's pretty much it. He played 3 in a row, Lyon did, back near the end of January, and 5 in a row at the outset of the winning streak. Like, the first win of that streak is in Edmonton, and Luukkonen had played Winnipeg and Calgary back-to-back. Lyon played Edmonton. Well, he came in Edmonton, actually, right? Ellis started Edmonton and got hit in the head. But Lyon's here is the winning goalie, which is all I'm looking at. I'm looking at the schedule. So he didn't start that game, but then he started the next 4 right after that.
Okay.
All wins in a row, of course, because it was the beginning of a 10-game win streak.
Why did he come out? Back-to-back?
Yes. Luukkonen played. They played on Long Island. No, home against the Islanders on the 20th, and the 21st they were at New Jersey, and Luukkonen played that game.
Well, this is 4 tonight.
Yep.
I don't want to say I'm worried about it. You tell me, like, what kind of an adjustment it might be for somebody that's been in the league a long time, but has never really gotten on the ride like this.
Right. The last, well, I shouldn't say the last. I don't know how his year went in Detroit, or years even. Was he in Detroit for 2 seasons? When he was in Florida, when he helped get Florida in the first year where they went to the final and lost, he was their guy down the stretch and played like crazy. But that's 3 years ago, right? They won the cup the last 2 years. So that's quite a long time. But he was a guy then. Like, he played down the stretch and then opened the playoffs for them, and then wheels kind of came off.
These kind of moves I'm talking about can be construed in 2 ways. One is you could just rip them for overthinking it. How could you ever turn away from your goalie at this point with how he's played? Fine. How could you break up a lineup from winning those 2 games in Boston 6-1? I mean, how could you? Fine. Go ahead. Rip it to shreds. It didn't happen. So I know the odds. But on the other hand, I want to play my best team. And with goaltending, I'm not sure there ever really was any serious separation between my 2 goalies. And I don't want to go down ignoring how I got here with respect to them. But it's maybe too late now. Like, you're going to. Unless Lyon bombs tonight, and then what do you do?
But then that's the scenario I was trying to avoid when I pivoted to Lyon in the first place, which is gun to your head, right? Like, if Lyon implodes tonight, you're probably going to turn to Luukkonen, and he's been sitting around for a week and a half now.
I'm not even sure it has to be implodes.
Maybe if they just lose
4 or 5 goals. And
I guess
you're not sure to beat them up on
I guess
them,
in a series that's been mostly low scoring, I would consider that an implosion, I guess. Like, if he gave up 5 goals, I think, like, oof.
Luukkonen's game 2 was 4, but 1 was from center ice. And the first one was kind of ugly, even though it was a semi-breakaway.
Yeah, it was bad.
So, that's closer to implodes than it might have to be. But you might have a decision to make if you lose tonight, depending on how it looks.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I mean, that's no new thing. Coaches are always confronted with, hard decisions. Boston doesn't have this decision. Swayman was never going to not play in Game 5, even after 6-1. He was just not. He's going to start them all.
100%.
And that's easier on a coach. But sometimes it's the hard ones that really set you apart as a coach. And I don't know. Does my Norris point for the last game interest you at all?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's these clips live forever now. There's a clip of us talking on Tuesday where I say, like, I don't think you're putting him back in his spot. But if he's healthy, I think there's a conversation worth having about putting him in for Kozak. I think I would listen to you argue that. I don't know that I would do it because I've won 2 games in a row here and like whatever, but Norris is a very good defensive hockey player. If that's what you're looking for out of your 4th-line center, he can certainly do that, and he's got way more offensive upside. So I didn't hate it as a conversation. Again, I don't know that I would have pulled the trigger because of winning lineup and all that stuff, but I thought it was a reasonable point to make. That, like, I got to get, and not like Paul will push back. He did yesterday when we brought this up to him, I think, or even the day before, maybe I did. I don't want to dress out of fear of injury. That's not what I'm doing. I mean, obviously it would have been convenient to have Norris because the injury happened. But what you're saying is I want my best guys on the ice, period. And then, if by chance I need him in the role that he originally was playing, at least he's dressed. When that happens, now I got no recourse other than to, what Lindy decided to do, which again, Paul said he had a different idea, was just mostly use Kozak between Doan and Benson. And I think you're nuts if you don't think you'd rather have Norris in that spot. And the only way you would have done that is if you had dressed him in Kozak's spot. But really the point is, this isn't, looking back on it and saying, boy, you should have done. It was a legitimate point to make, I think, before the game. We didn't spend hours on it or anything, but the door was open to me to have that conversation. Should you put him in or not? And they chose not to, and who knows what would have been different. But I like Norris in this spot. I just think the series is not indicative of who he is as a player. I think he got hurt on his fifth or sixth shift of the series and played through something. And if my guess about it being a head injury is correct, that explains him not looking good for the rest of game one, 2 periods plus of that game and all of game 2 before he finally, I would guess, admitted, I can't keep going. I need a break, whether that was the head or something else. If he's healthy now, I am inserting, I think, an excellent hockey player back into my lineup. And yes, Ostlund gave them juice, but compared to compromised Norris, that's not a fair fight to me. I think Norris fully healthy, I think with Benson and Doan should be able to give you as much, if not more, than Ostlund was giving you. Norris is a very good hockey player. So yeah, I'm banking on him tonight.
I love it. I mean, this is maybe where I'm suffering for not having watched the NHL as closely when the Sabres were down for the last X number of years, but I've never had a real feel for Norris. But I know the numbers, and the numbers liked him a lot, especially as a goal scorer. And then he got here, and his pluses were more in a setup role than in actually scoring goals. And then you had a couple of moments, like in a game against Tampa late in the season where he sniped one. I mean, I think the talent is evident, but I've never developed – he hasn't played enough for me. And in these important games, he's been in and out some. Now he's been out of this series until tonight. I can't say that I really have a feel for what I'm getting with him, unlike maybe everybody else. I've been completely won over by the group. And even if it is, whether Kozak is the name or not, Malenstein or Greenway, on that fourth line, all of it, it is a fast, relentless team with a good blue line or even great. That's tough to penetrate, and the goaltending is held up. And it's the kind of team that could really win. The last time they were in the playoffs was so long ago, it almost doesn't matter. But as you pointed out earlier, they were never really a team where you could seriously think they could go long. And that's not true here. We went from, wow, this is a dream season to you better not squander this opportunity, 3-1 with home ice. You got to get this home, or else we're just going to be crushed. Watching Boston play in the next round, I mean, I'll go right back to hibernation if it comes to that.
Yeah.
So it's house money, but it's also not really, because when you get, now this is going to sound like a cliche, when you get this kind of a chance, I mean, you just gotta find a way.
Yeah, I think when you get to 3-1 up in the series, coming home for Game 5, the idea of house money goes out the window.
Yeah,
I just don't think it exists anymore.
You got to win a round.
You've got pressure now. You've got expectation now. And that's entirely fair. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's how it should be.
I certainly feel it.
Yep.
803-0550 if you want to join us talking about tonight's game. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Pregame at 6:30 here on WGR.
For more comfort,
Now's the perfect time to make yourself comfortable with a new electric heating and cooling system from Belknap.
In Western New York, summer and winter bring extreme temperature conditions. Make yourself comfortable with Mitsubishi electric heat pumps, designed to keep your home cool in the summer and warm in the winter, no matter how hot or cold it gets outside. Call Belknap today to learn more.
I'm Gary Garfield, president of Belknap. We work on your schedule. We don't charge more for weekends and evenings. That's why we say,
Give Belknap a ring.
6 in TD Garden as the Sabres look to close out their first-round series against the Bruins. Again, pregame at 6:30. Puck drop is expected around 7:40. And some lineup notes for tonight. Head coach Lindy Ruff did speak with the media earlier today, saying Logan Stanley would skate today, but he is ultimately a game-time decision. He's been dealing with an illness the past couple of days. If he can't go, it does look like it'll be Michael Kessering who slides into the lineup, while for Boston, forward Victor Arvidsson is out with an upper body injury. And staying with the Sabres, Lindy Ruff was announced today as a finalist for the Jack Adams Award, the award given out to the Coach of the Year in the NHL. He, along with Dan Muse of Pittsburgh and John Cooper of Tampa, are the 3 finalists. Speaking of Tampa, they are part of one of the other 2 games going on tonight. Montreal does host the Lightning, Game 6 at 7. The Canadiens are the team that can advance with a win. Then at 10, another Game 6, Utah and Las Vegas. That game is in Salt Lake, and Vegas will advance with a win tonight. In baseball, the Bisons do have a doubleheader today at Scranton. Game 1 is currently underway. You can listen to both Game 1 and 2 over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. While in the majors, Yankees have the Orioles in town at 7:05. The Jays are at Minnesota at 8:10. And then out west in California, the Mets, they take on the Angels at 9:35. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Around it comes to Rick Martin. Up ahead for Perro. Perro coming to center. Dumps it off the boards in the corner. Robert going after it. He scores! Rene Robert! And the Sabres win it again in overtime. Off the boards in the corner. Robert pounded it between the legs of Bernie Perrot. And the Buffalo Sabres are right back in the Stanley Cup final.
I am a stickler, and I'm proud to be one when it comes to sportscasting. Rick Jenneret beats the crowd to the reaction. And there's no horn. There's just a red light. And, by the way, the ice is covered in fog.
Right, it's the fog game.
And he's up top. And right away, he's faster to it than it seems possible. He's like, where's the puck? Right. Just like, goal. And I get annoyed sometimes when, like, a play is happening. I know hockey can be like this. It was made fun of in the West Wing once. Hockey announcers are this or that because they're just sort of talking about their day and then scores! Like, you don't even know that there's a play. But that's not – you can't blame Rick for that on that play. I mean, the puck is dumped into the corner.
It's a very surprising goal.
Right. He's right to have the surprise in his voice that you hear.
It's from a terrible angle. And really, the fog might be the reason you get the goal. It's smart play by Rene Robert to just throw it at the goalie's feet. This is, how far in the weeds do I want to get here? If you're around people who complain when the goalies go down like they go down when the puck is in the corner or behind them and they play with like one leg in the net or the skate on the post and they're leaning over there like that. It's called vertical horizon and reverse vertical horizon, depending on which side of the net they're on and which hand is the glove and which is the stick. The reason goalies do that now is because goals like that used to go in all the time. If you don't know what that goal looks like, Bernie Brown is standing there at the left goal post. Robert goes into the corner, retrieves the puck, throws it at the net, and it goes right through Perron's feet, and he sort of does a little, like, with his feet as it goes through him. That happened all the time. You're taking away the chance of that going in. Yes, you're vulnerable to the perfect shot up over your shoulder or even banking it in off your goalie mask, which is now a play shooters actually shoot for. But anyway, old school. You're standing there, and it's in your feet, and it's in the net.
It's just great by Rick. As a listener, I mean, in those days you didn't have announcers who were doing TV and radio, but really it should be about the radio listener because the TV viewer can see the play. The announcer's obligation should be to the radio audience because they can't see the play. And on that one, he's just so fast. It's great.
Yep.
It's great to hear, like, no equivocation, no hesitation, just bam, scores. And then the awed crowd in the background to follow it. Just close to perfection. Here's Todd with us. Hi, Todd.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I was at Game 2 and Game 5, so rest assured I am not going to today's game. So
stay away.
everything should work out just fine.
Good.
Wondering if you think what your thoughts are on Boston's game plan. Seemed pretty different in the last game, and I'm wondering if you think they're going to stick with that because it worked, or if you think they'll return to their earlier ways. I'll take my answer off the line.
Well, I think they have mostly been trying to play the way that they played on Tuesday. I think they did so for parts of Game 3, even though the Sabres ended up coming back and winning that game. They definitely did it in Game 2. Game 1, not so much. The Sabres had a lot of opportunity in Game 1, even though they were trailing in the game. I thought they were clearly the better team. I wouldn't say that about Game 2, and I definitely wouldn't say that about Game 5. So to me, to my eyes, I don't think they changed anything. They executed it better. The Sabres maybe weren't as good at putting the puck in places in the Boston zone that would be problematic for them to retrieve without getting really hassled. So, no, I think Boston tries to muddy up the neutral zone, and if they can avoid just having to flip the puck out of the zone like they did so much in Game 4, they're on the right track. I think their game to me their objectives have not changed to my eyes at all. It's really been a question of how the Sabres can fight through it and counteract it. I think Boston's going to try to muddy the game up and slow them down. That's what the weaker team almost always has to resort to. And the rules in the league often allow you some leeway to do so.
And then you need your best scorers to score when they can, and that's what Pasternak finally did.
Right.
I thought he was really fighting it. I mean, I don't watch every one of his games so closely, but I said it to you during the game on Tuesday, man, he's getting a lot of looks. The Sabres can't take for granted that Boston, sorry for the double negative, that Boston can't score on them. I mean, there were lots of chances where Boston, there have been a couple of plays in this series where you can't believe they didn't score. Like the net's wide open and Geeky in Game 1, that's maybe there for the Bruins based on their forecheck and just those top guys probably have to do it though because it doesn't run that deep with Boston.
Right.
So that's a little unsettling given how Game 5 ended. Thanks, Todd. 803-0550 for your calls. Pregame at 6:30 for Game 6. 7 o'clock for Tampa at Montreal. Man, Tampa is one loss away. They've got to win 2 now to stay alive.
And the goal that cost them Game 5 was bad.
They give up goals.
I mean, that just went right through Vasilevsky. It was horrible. I mean, there's been plenty of really nice plays. There's a lot of high-end offensive talent there. But, man, Vasilevsky, for a goalie of his stature, that was a stink bomb goal that he allowed.
So I have this obsession with the defenseman's stick coming in, almost right when the puck is being released. And on that play, it doesn't get there, but it almost does. The effort is made by the defenseman to basically block the shot with the blade of the stick. And even that could be a distraction to the goalie.
Well, I mean, I tell you all the time in here that the goalie is the supercomputer brain of the goalie is looking at the stick angle and launch angle and all of that. And if that stick blade, even if it doesn't get in the way of the puck, it could get in the line of sight. And if that throws the goalie off at all, that's how you can end up with a shot that goes through a guy because he thought he had it, knew where it was going, but then suddenly it's obscured and you might lose track. So it doesn't take much. So yeah, I mean that's tough. That's tough. That goal and I've been all over the place. Like I said, I think I said on Tuesday that series, I don't know what I want because on one hand, Tampa's got the experience and they've got the goalie, but maybe, they're older and maybe they're going to run out of gas. And I don't know, maybe they get Hedman back. He's not coming back in this series, I think Cooper said definitively, but that, he's skating. He could be on the horizon for round 2 for them. I think Montreal is going to be a harder out than them.
I've loved it when they were on different nights than our series.
Yeah.
Not tonight, though. They start half an hour before we do. Get to see some of it. I'll be definitely going back and forth.
In the intermissions,
Any
for
chance
sure,
get.
I will. Yeah, yeah.
Unless the game gets out of hand, like on my phone, I see it's a 3-goal lead or something like
Right.
that.
They're at least going to be available on the same app.
ESPN.
This is not one of these nights where you've got an ESPN game and a TNT game, and the TNT game is on for me and you anyway. Different. Like I got to get that through HBO. Like there's no screen picture and whatever that doesn't exist. This will with the ESPN app even, which is where I think I'll go. The picture's better than Fubo, at least on my rig, usually. So I'll probably be in there, and they'll have a side by side. Probably for these two games on ESPN Plus.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So I'll have that. I'll be able to just toggle. Just big screen for the one. Hit the button and then they're both there. Just sort of flip back and forth if I want.
But that wouldn't be your default, would it? The two games on one screen?
I'm saying I'll have it set up. So all I got to do is back out of the big screen and then I'll have them both there. And I can so that you can even do that during commercial breaks.
Try that.
It's pretty convenient.
I think I have that.
Yeah, if you have that ESPN Plus, that'll work. You might, if you haven't, they have this funny thing where if it's on the app, like if there's a hockey game and they're carrying, say, the Sportsnet footage of a Leafs game or feed of a Leafs game, then you just click on it and it comes up. When the app presents stuff that's on ESPN or ESPN2, it sometimes will ask you for a TV provider to get access to that. So you might have to jump through a hoop. But you have that because you have Fubo, so you can just enter your login stuff.
I'm telling you, if I don't have that right now, I am dead. If I don't have the right answer to a question like that at this point,
right?
I got HBO for this. I got billed today. I stayed with Netflix. Last night I literally watched Netflix last couple nights so that I can say that I'm using it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I watched a Zeppelin documentary that you told me was kind of old, but I loved it. And I have to watch Netflix now.
Not real old, only a couple years, but still, yeah.
Okay.
It hadn't just come out. Right.
I hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
I had to watch Netflix and now the price went up again on Netflix. And then Disney. We got Disney, which my daughter likes for vampire stuff.
Oh, it's vampire stuff now. All right.
She's into the vampire scene. Vampire Diaries and Twilight and the like. Teen Wolf.
Right. Yep.
Teen Wolf. And Paramount is the one.
I don't feel like Teen Wolf is in that same genre, but I
don't know. Maybe it isn't.
Yeah, I don't.
There are monsters.
Okay, right.
There are kids that turn into monsters or something. I think maybe that's
Teen Wolf. I think is
thread.
a Michael J. Fox movie where he turns into a wolf and plays basketball.
No, it's a series now.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, then. Let me stand down.
I don't know if it's different.
Am I at least right about the OG Teen Wolf there?
I think so.
Okay.
I never saw it.
Yeah.
The premise didn't grab me.
No, I never saw it either, but I know of it. I mean, it's hard to avoid.
Oh, you have to know of it.
Yeah.
And it was worthy of a series. Decades later,
I guess
apparently.
so, right.
Now, I can't answer that provider question. I'm just going to chuck the remote. That's it. Cancel everything. 6:30 pregame with Paul Hamilton. Lots of sound coming your way from Boston. 7:30 game. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Sit tight. We'll talk some more next. This is WGR. A win for the Sabres tonight would be great for all the reasons. Here's one. Go have a Sunday.
Yeah.
Without
yeah.
the crippling stress of a seventh game.
How about just a Sunday? How about a whole weekend? I mean, have a Friday night, have a Saturday, have a Sunday, I sure hope Tampa and Montreal go to Game 7. I can watch that on Sunday. Great. Clobber one another. Like, it's just, all that comes home if the Sabres can get this one tonight. I mean, I could not. It depends when that game would probably be if it's the only one. Say, probably they would have it in the evening. But the idea of going out to watch like a 4:00 in the afternoon Game 7 that features the teams like you're going to play the winner, man, I got all the time in the world to go out to a bar to watch that. I would be posted up for sure to watch that.
There are going to be as many as 3 games on Sunday. I think there could be none if everything is clinched tonight. I guess I would take that. I doubt they would rush into a second-round series without having announced it yet. 2 second-round series are set. Philadelphia and Carolina, and now, after last night, Minnesota and Colorado will meet in round 2.
Actually, Philly and Carolina play tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
Oh, they start tomorrow?
They have announced that.
That's good. That's what should happen.
Yes, Philly and Carolina play Game 1 tomorrow night at 8, primetime. So that's going. So that'll start up.
Good.
I suppose Pittsburgh and Philly wrapping up plays a part in that too, because those series are kind of joined to an extent, right? No, they're not anymore. After that, it's going to be the conference finals after this. Wait, where are we? Where are we on the timeline?
This is the end of round 1, the beginning of round 2.
Right. Okay.
It should be this way. Philadelphia and Carolina have been sitting. Carolina especially, so why put it off? And there's no other game on Saturday.
Right.
So good that there's a game on Saturday night. I think they won't do that for Sunday because odds are they'll get one of these games, series tonight through to Sunday.
Yeah. I don't know where I got lost in there thinking there was still another series in the Metro, but these are the two teams left from the Metro, so that's all there is to it. They both won in time for them to start Saturday, so they're going to – all 4 games between those 2 teams this year were decided in overtime or a shootout. 3 of them were very early in the season, 2 in October, maybe 1 in December. So Philly was not, and Carolina won all 3 of those. They played once in April, and Philly got that one in a shootout. But
when they needed it.
They've been, right. So even before Philly was as dangerous as they appear to be now, they were playing good, very close games with Carolina all year. So you have that in your back pocket if you want it.
No idea what they will do with the Sabres game. It has to depend on the other 2 tonight to see how many games they need to fit in on Sunday. But the plan is that they'd all go Sunday.
Right.
7th games. 803-0550. Lines remain open for you. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Pregame with Paul Hamilton at 6:30. This is WGR.
Game 6 tonight at TD Gardens in Boston. The Sabres looking to close out their first-round series with the Bruins tonight with a win. Pregame is going to get underway in just about a half hour at 6:30. Paul Hamilton will join the show live from Boston, and then puck drop is expected around 7:40. All of that will be right here on WGR. Lineup notes for tonight. Logan Stanley is going to be a game-time decision today, according to head coach Lindy Ruff. He did skate earlier this morning, but he has been dealing with an illness the past couple of days. If he cannot go, it looks like it is going to be Michael Kessering who slides into the lineup for him. While for Boston, forward Victor Arvidsson is out with an upper body injury. Staying with the Sabres, Lindy Ruff, he was announced today as a finalist for the Jack Adams Award. That award is given out to the Coach of the Year in the NHL, and the three finalists, including Lindy Ruff, were Dan Muse of Pittsburgh and John Cooper of Tampa. There are two other games tonight. Tampa is a part of one of them. Montreal does host the Lightning. Game 6 at 7. The Canadiens advance tonight with a win, and then at 10, another Game 6, Utah and Las Vegas. The game is in Salt Lake, but Vegas is the team that can advance with a win tonight. And catch every take and every reaction in every big Buffalo sports moment live now on YouTube with Jeremy and Joe in the morning and Schopp and the Bulldog every afternoon. Watch your favorite WGR hosts anytime, anywhere, live on air and live on YouTube. It is brought to you by Belknap Heating and Cooling. For more comfort and less ka-ching, give Belknap a ring. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Thompson's in front. Puck doesn't get there. It scores! Rasmus Dahlin! The captain starts it. Spins that pass to the wall. Here's Lindholm. Far post chance. Lyon. Robbery at the far post. Somehow he got enough of that one.
I love it. This is what I think of when I think of hockey. There's nothing better. It's everyone. They're giving everything they have, sacrificing their bodies, minds, everything. You're just going out there and giving them.
Krebs can't get the shot away. Tuck finds the puck. Scores! Oh my goodness, Alex Tuck picks up the loose puck and he rips it home, and the Sabres have stormed back on the road to take a 2-1 lead.
Big games. I've been fortunate enough to play in some and come out on the right side, and once you get that taste of winning, it's a drug. It's all you want. Being out of it for so long, finally being here, just really makes you hungry to see how far you can go.
Tuck and Thompson fighting for it. Thompson comes away with it. Thompson scores! Greatness from Tage Thompson. Quinn walks it out to the slot. Shot scores! Mattias Samuelsson! Are you kidding me? 3 straight from the Sabres, and they've erased the deficit and taken their first playoff lead.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR.
All the way back to game 1 with that one. Would you have taken a 3-2 series lead through 5 games?
100%.
I think it's the minimum. You could have been a little greedier. You're not going to take a 3-2 deficit ever.
No.
So this is about a par on that front. That's what we've got. 803-0550. You want to get some thoughts in on what you expect tonight. The day on WGR has been starting with Jeremy this morning. Vibes and predictions. Speak it into existence. Bulldog is big on Josh Norris tonight. The money is down. Norris going in for Rosslund. I would love to see it. I think that's my favorite idea for this game, is if Norris is, if you will, the hero, and we can relax about him maybe and not talk about whether he should play, instead of guys on the fourth line.
Because if this is going to keep going, they're going to need him for a while here. I mean, we don't have a timeline yet on Rosslund, but, I mean, when you hear it doesn't look good.
It's weeks.
It just, you're talking about, at least the whole next series, I would guess. And, we'll see from there. I heard before the playoffs even began, by the way, that Carrick would be like third round. They would need to win a couple rounds for it to be, that can change, in the course of, the timeline here. But back then, before the playoffs began, from someone that I trust, that was the timeline they were looking at then.
And that would be about a month, 4 to 5 weeks would be the timeline there. So,
and I get, and dislocated elbow. I looked like that was a guess. They never said, but it looked to me like that was maybe what happened to him. Was 4 to 6 weeks is a timeline there. So it's right in that wheelhouse. So we'll see. Anyway, but yeah, Norris goes into that Ostlund spot, and just to give the whole speech one more time, I think the whole playoffs here for him have been marred by an injury that I think he suffered on like his 5th or 6th shift of game 1. There's about 5 minutes or 4 minutes left in period 1 of game 1, and he takes a very awkward fall into the end wall behind the Boston net. Someone I know who was sitting right behind there said you could hear his head hit the boards, and he looked a little distressed when he got up, and even, I believe, went to the wrong face-off dot. How in the world he didn't get tapped on the shoulder by a concussion spotter after that?
I don't think they do that anymore.
I don't know. Well, it happened in Rantanen last night in the Dallas-Minnesota game. He had a collision, and it looked like he hit his head on the ice, and he was sitting on the bench, and someone came, and he looked mad, and he had to go to the room, and then he came back, 5 or 6 minutes later.
Boy, that surprises me. It shouldn't, but there was an Ottawa player in their 4th loss who was in a collision and went down, and the camera was on him, and he started to crawl. He couldn't get up. I mean, what an obvious sign that is. He couldn't get up off the ice. He started to crawl toward the bench. Shabbat, maybe?
Okay. I don't remember.
I'm not sure it was.
Right.
But then he goes to the bench, and it's like nothing happened. And he's back on the ice a shift or 2 later.
And you're sure he didn't lose a skate blade or something, and that's why he was crawling?
Pretty sure.
Okay.
It's a week ago now, but yes. I've seen a few plays in these playoffs. Maybe there was even one in our series where, like, okay, well, those are the signs. That's one sign anyway.
Yeah.
But nobody even brings it up anymore, it seems. I missed that one last night.
It did happen last night, yeah. So they don't tell you. They've chosen not to tell us, and I feel like that gives you some leeway to speculate because we want to know, like, what happens here to these guys. Norris, you'll hear him in pregame with Paul. Paul asked him. He didn't answer, and that's just, that's how he chose to do. I don't want to divulge what the injury was. But if all that's right, if I'm right about all that, and I admit that's a big pill to swallow, but something happened to him. He left the series after game 2. And the reason it lines up to me, for him especially, whether it's a head injury or something else, is that his reputation as a player entirely right now is that he's basically made of glass. So if anybody on that team is going to try to fight through something, I would believe it's him. So to me, it all lines up that he was damaged, still played the rest of game 1 and then all of game 2, and didn't produce much. If he's recovered fully from whatever the injury is, head injury or something else, I think I've got a very good hockey player coming back into my lineup that should be capable of utilizing Doan and Benson comparably to the way Ostlund was. So I think it's bad that Ostlund got hurt. You'd rather have all your best guys, and he was having a bigger impact than I foresaw. But Norris is an excellent player. So yeah, I'm just betting on that. I feel like the fan base mostly, and I get it, there's a lot of fatigue with a guy that's injured as often as he's been injured. He carries a big price tag. You can wonder about what the future is going to be for him based on all that. But in the here and now, they need him, I think, big time. And that line should be able to do a lot of what they were doing with Ostlund, with Norris there, if he's healthy. So that's why I'm on him. Goal and 2 assists.
Wow.
That's my bet on him. I mean, it's a lot. There might not be 3 goals in this game. So I'm betting on him to be involved in all of them for Buffalo if they even get 3 themselves. Last game was 2-1. Game 3 was 3-1. I mean, it's been a largely low scoring. So it's bold, but I like him. I like him, and I like him moving forward if he's healthy.
Total tonight 5.5 minus 122 to the over at DraftKings. So 4-2. I bet Zucker to score first after talking to Sam. Why not? Let's live a little.
I love it. I had that in 2 of the earlier games of the series.
You're off it?
Yeah.
Well, guess what happens if I win? I pay off some of my debt to you.
Oh, you don't have a debt to me.
Plus 1,700.
Yeah.
For Zucker to score the first
goal.
I wouldn't want him to score the first Sabres goal after they fall behind. You don't get paid for that. It's gotta
No,
be
you
the
do
first
not.
goal.
No, you need the first goal of the game. Yeah.
The playoffs started 2 weeks ago Sunday, so it's 12 days. It's been 12 days. Does it seem like more or less? It's just all-consuming, these 12 days. Our friend Harry Skull, photographer for the News, just tweeted pictures of the Sabres arriving at the arena. And the one of Thompson looks like, all right, he's trying to grow the beard.
Yeah.
So he's had 2 weeks.
I have not thought a lot about the beard, but now I want to go. I want to go look. I want to find this. Oh yeah, here we are. All right, well, there's Lindy.
He's still with the goatee.
Yeah.
Coaches don't even count.
Samuelson's got a little thing going there. I can't tell on Darlene because it's blonde and these are black and white. Who?
But Samuelson usually carries one, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Zucker is in there, and he's got the full beard already.
That is Zucker. Okay, yeah. I can't tell on Thompson. He's got
It's
happening there.
barely.
Yeah.
It looks like you're trying to do it, which I respect it if he's trying to do it.
Right.
Maybe he's never tried to grow a beard before. But I'm not sure if this is a team-wide effort. I was told, wasn't I, before the playoffs when we talked about this a little bit, that not everybody does it anymore?
That was, I think maybe Paul even said
Right?
that to us. And I guess I don't know, and I've been watching a game every night and often 2 or 3 games.
Well, you get to the finals, and there's Sam Bennett.
Right.
Or McDavid even. Like
and they've got
playoff beards.
Like
You
massive.
can't start you got to start at the beginning.
Right.
To get to that look.
I feel like I should be noticing if guys haven't shaved in 2 weeks or almost 2 weeks. But I guess I haven't really noticed. Maybe you got to win this series to get somewhere on that. Get some traction on the beards. It's another reason to win tonight. I want to see some beards. I want to see what Tage Thompson looks like with a beard, if indeed he is trying to grow one.
Darlene might just not have it in him. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Maybe. But I can't tell you that it's like there's a team-wide effort here or commitment being made. Well, I mean, you have Norris, your eyes on him, and I'm making this one kind of, fluky sort of bet on Zucker, but he's due to score, and he's been so close. Would love to see that happen, not just for my own benefit. McLeod is somebody that, this team is deep, and he's one of a lot of guys that have had looks. He's the shorthanded goal king from early in the season. He got to 5, and then that was it. But would love to see, anybody, but somebody that isn't on that top line.
Yeah.
Like in Game 4, hit for them.
Yeah.
Because that, I think, is where they have the biggest edge over the Bruins.
They have no goals from that line. The McLeod, Zucker. Zucker hasn't scored. McLeod never shoots. Quinn's got 3 assists, at least.
He can shoot.
Quinn? Oh, he's one of the – I think after Thompson, he might be the best shooter on the team.
Yeah, just
I think that's right. Zucker's got 1 assist. McLeod's got 1 assist. They've not put a puck in the net, that line. That was a spot to look. We talked with Paul late yesterday, and I mentioned to him that I thought Lindy either might really change the lines or just sort of fool around with the lines in practice, just for whatever gamesmanship opportunity it might present. But I wonder, I know Chad DeDominicis on Twitter, I've seen Expected Buffalo, and I might be ready to break up that Zucker McLeod Quinn line. I'm getting nothing offense. And they're at least in Game 5, they were start the period every period. They were the starting line out there. So it's not like they're not getting ice time or anything. They just have not really produced. So I'm glad to see, Oslin goes out and the power play's got to shuffle. Norris goes into that spot on the power play there on the first power play. McLeod is back on power play too, which is where he belongs. I like him for that. If he's the guy that ends up with the last drop pass, he's such a good skater that I feel like he can be counted on. Just why I think he ever even gets on power play 1 is that he can be counted on to gain the blue line effectively with speed and hopefully get yourself set up. He's, to me, as much as they can struggle with that part of the power play, I feel like he's the best they have at that part of it. I feel like Thompson often gets himself tangled up in that. Like he'll get into the zone and then there's someone right on him at the blue line, and he just doesn't have a quick enough pivot. Whereas McLeod, I think, is just a little bit faster and just backs somebody off just enough because they're worried he's just going to go right by him. And so when he stops, there's just a little more room, and you're kind of like, okay, let's breathe. Where's Darlene? Let's get this thing set up. Thompson, it feels a little more rushed and frenetic when he carries it in to me.
Do we have an Owen update?
I've not seen where he is. Last I saw was approaching like the 5 o'clock, top of the 5 o'clock hour, and he was in traffic on the turnpike, which, go figure.
The turnpike. Oh.
Let's see. I got nothing. That was an hour ago, and I don't have anything since then.
Somewhere around the turnpike from Sturbridge to Boston?
Hopefully at least in that range by 5 o'clock. Yeah, I'm hoping for him.
What's the next line? Count of these dreams. I dream like frosting. What's the next line? Sweet baby James.
I don't know.
That's not your.
It's not my wheelhouse.
Jam.
No.
First weekend in New England. I can't deliver on this one.
Thank you for playing some bars of Weekend in New England for me earlier today.
I regaled Bulldog in the beginning of that song just to see if he knew what it was, and you did, right?
Yes, I recognize.
Right away.
I said I bet it's a song I recognize, but I can't hum it for you. And you put it on. I'm like, yeah, I absolutely recognize this. What is it? You're like, it's that song. I'm like, okay, yeah.
Too many recent urges to sing without a good voice right now. I've never a good singing voice, but also not even a good speaking voice. I'm not full throat here.
Right.
So I just will not attempt it. But I want to. Let's put for the record.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to sing "Oh Canada."
Right.
I often do anyway. But, just it was not going to happen.
It was not in the cards for you Tuesday night. No.
Thankfully, everybody else did it. A story that continues to resonate and spread its wings. Somebody tweeted a picture of a newspaper in London that covered it.
All right.
England, not Ontario. England.
Okay, right.
I continue to get likes on mine. I'm not sure if that's mostly Canadians or it's interesting when a tweet, it's like
just keeps
day
going.
3.
Yeah.
And every few minutes I get another reaction to it. Just, how special I think it was. No chance of that tonight.
No Canadian anthem.
The article I read from The Guardian.
This guy gets after it, though. This Boston
I don't think he's
singer,
good at all.
He's big and loud.
I don't think he's good, though.
Describe him. I'm not a fan.
I'm not a fan either.
Yeah. I remember as we were watching a regular season game earlier this year. Owen and his girlfriend were in the room. And this guy, I'm sorry I don't know his name. I did not take notes from games 3 or 4.
I just know it's not Rene Roncourt.
Right. But it's a big guy in a tuxedo, and he starts singing, and I just said to Owen, look at this guy. Look at this guy. And his girlfriend was a music major and had been at one time going to school to be a music teacher. Anyway, she's a musician. And she's like, what's your problem with this guy? Which I like that she did. She poked me like, what's your problem with this guy? I'm like, he's the Boston anthem singer.
No,
she's like, well, he's I think he's really good. This is good. And I'm like, that's not the point. Look at him.
I'll tell you what I would have said.
That's all I got. This is a sport. I'm not proud of this. I don't have anything to stand on here. I'm just telling you, I don't want to see the big, giant, tuxedo-laden anthem singer from Boston pointing at me. Just get out of here.
We'll see if he's got any tricks up his sleeves tonight after what happened here.
Right.
The other day, and Sal heard it and brought it back up yesterday, how like if you're making sense or you're not making sense, and somebody challenges you on a point, you just say, well, it was nuanced. Right. And I think what I would have said to your son's girlfriend is, he's just off pitch. And then either she can call my bluff,
right,
and say, excuse me, are you sure about that?
Right.
Maybe she has perfect pitch and would know from pitch, whereas I can't claim to have perfect pitch. I think I'm a pretty good ear, but my dad is better. Like he's I think on the very high end. I mean, he was a music major himself, but I like to think I can that I've sort of inherited some of that, And for me, that I don't care what he's wearing, but the Boston guy grated on me. And I want to say that's why. So I'm saying pitch. And I'm very possibly wrong.
I got to kind of try. I want to admit that I have a newfound respect for your ear, because we were watching. What the hell were we watching in here the one day? And you made a I was looking for soccer. I don't know, just channel surfing, going through the guide, and there was a music documentary about the Clash on some channel that we never would think to watch. But it's going through the guide. I'm like, oh, I want to see what this is. Like, what level of documentary is this about my favorite band ever?
That I know nothing about.
That you know nothing about. So I turn it on, and it's all like D-list and below, like people that were like, new people who might have known people who were attached to the band and stuff. It's like terrible. Like, I'm a bit of a Clash historian, so like I can smell it a mile away. These people are nobody. I don't recognize the names anyway. But they, there's 3 or 4 snippets of songs get played during this 2 or 3 minutes we have this on in the room.
This is exciting for me. I don't know what this is going to be.
And you say to me, are all these songs in the same key?
Okay, yeah.
And I go, I guess. It's not something I'd ever really thought about.
I just pulled the trick on you then, maybe.
I don't really know. I'm not really sure. I've played I know how to play a bunch of them.
You think I was right? You're just not sure?
I'm still not sure, but I think you're probably right.
Okay. See, I think I just did the same thing. Because I asked rather than just stated it.
Yeah.
Oh. You got to be nuanced.
But here's the thing about me, as someone who plays the guitar and is very familiar with this band's music, I'm not someone who could get together with, a bit. Hey, come on, jam with us. All right, we're gonna play. Should I Stay or Should I Go? But it's gonna be in G, not E.
I'm out.
I gotta go. I'm out. I know how to play it like it was on the record. If you're adjusting it because the vocalist can't sing in the same key that Mick Jones did, I don't know the song anymore.
So you learned it by ear,
right?
Okay.
Yeah. So keys are not like anytime any of these people that I play with, any of them are listening, they will know, like, any little change like that. It's just like, okay, I'm going to need you to draw that for me.
Well, I would like an expert to tell me if they think I'm right about the Boston singer. I think Cammie Clooney is fabulous. Like, maybe she has what I'm looking for here, pitch-wise. But it's a similar thing to what I was just saying. Just drop pitch at the party and see what kind of reactions you get. He's off pitch.
Yeah.
My dad, I've said this about him so many times. He always used to bang on Frank Sinatra. He just couldn't stand him. Couldn't stand his voice. He's off pitch. And I don't know, I guess. I've always just subscribed to that theory, that Sinatra was a hack. I mean, maybe talented in other ways. But as a singer, no.
All right.
My dad was into Jack Jones. It was a long time ago.
I'll say.
Not the first season, maybe, but he's the voice on the Love Boat theme.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Michael, listen to this guy. This guy's on pitch. This guy has it. He should be famous like Sinatra. He should be big time. Silver screen.
Isn't
Jack Jones?
Is Jack Jones Shirley Jones's real life husband?
I don't know.
The mom on Partridge Family?
I don't know. I don't know anything about him.
I feel like maybe they were attached, but I don't know for sure.
Jack Jones.
Do I have time to Google that before pregame starts?
Yeah, you totally do. 7:40. Come on, we can get this in.
I'm on my way.
So while you're looking that up, let me tell. I've always sort of held my dad in very high regard in this area. One time, not that recently, but I remember him being in my basement, and a song came on, and he was sort of like taken by it for a second, and he sort of tilted his head. And I said to him, Bulldog, you're going to love this. I said, oh, that's an F. And he said, how did you know that? And I'm thinking to myself, maybe I didn't.
But you got
Maybe
him.
I did,
Yep.
but maybe I didn't.
She was married to someone named Jack Cassidy, which always confused me because David Cassidy played her son on the show, The Partridge Family, but I don't believe was related to Jack Cassidy.
You sure?
No.
You got to click on that name now.
No.
Partridge Family hit trivia.
Oh no, there it is. Real life
his father.
stepson, David Cassidy, son of Jack Cassidy, Shirley Jones's husband.
So Shirley Jones was
Thank
his
you.
stepmother.
Yes.
Bam.
Boy, we really got to the bottom of some stuff.
Just in time.
Sabres Bruins coming your way tonight.
Game 6 of the playoffs. Paul Hamilton from Boston joins us to start things off on the pregame show. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at WGR.
Was Thursday. Today is Friday.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
We so excited. We gonna have a ball today. Tomorrow is Saturday.
I'm itching inside. My liver's all twisted up. But you know what I did? I took Deborah, went to the liquor store. I loaded up with alcohol, more specifically vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.
Looking forward to the weekend. Day was Thursday. Today is Friday.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
We so excited. We gonna have a ball today. Tomorrow is Saturday.
I'm itching inside. My liver's all twisted up. But you know what I did? I took Deborah, went to the liquor store. I loaded up with alcohol, more specifically vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.